Okay, Ralph says you're good for the mic. To say something.
All right, we need our commission members up. It's past 7 o'clock. Let's go.
Mayor, I need something for you to sign whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
Your book? I'll go get it. Yeah, you sign this. Yes, I know. There's a few copies. Next to your name.
Absolutely. Do you mind writing in pink?
Oh, sorry. Next to your name.
What are we signing?
That's for the, what is this for again? These,
This is for the closing on the property, 400 South Federal.
Oh, we are.
Do you have everybody?
Yeah. And the loan.
Where's there she is?
I don't want to be responsible for that here.
I think that one's for the loan part.
No, I'm not signing the loan.
No. It's just, you all agreed to authorize it, which is on tonight's agenda.
All right. You took my pen. Here you go.
let me sign that later.
Good evening. This is the City of Dania Beach regular meeting. It is July 8th, 2025. It is 7:03 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. City Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Davis?
Here.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Here?
Commissioner Llewellyn? Here. Commissioner Romoli?
Here.
Commissioner Ryan?
Here?
City Attorney Bootsas?
Here.
City Manager Garcia?
Here.
Mayor Yavkorn?
Thank you so much, City Clerk. If everyone would please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Attorney, if you would please read our statement of decorum.
Yes, Mayor. No individual shall make any slanderous or unduly repetitive remarks or engage in any other form of behavior that disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting as determined by the mayor. No individual may speak directly to or address the mayor, the city commission, or city staff. Comments are to be only directed to the commission as a whole. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support of or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. I believe the Vice Mayor has a statement.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome City Commissioner Tracy Clary here tonight, visiting our wonderful city. Tracy, you want to say a few words about how wonderful our city is? You think better? We're trying to keep up with Hollywood. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Caleri, for visiting the City of Dania Beach this evening. It is always a pleasure to have you with us. So we will move on to item 3.1, our first presentation, the Community Foundation of Broward, Building Stronger Communities Together. And come on, Dr. Jennifer O'Flannery Connor, did I say it right?
O'Flannery Anderson.
O'Flannery
It's close.
Anderson.
Close enough.
Well, thank you all for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about what the Community Foundation is. We are so proud to have the beautiful mural, the love mural that was installed a few months ago down near the pier. It's gorgeous. And I think, Kirk, are we passing the magazines? Oh, okay, perfect. So we're going to show you it was the cover of our magazine. And when I was talking to the mayor while we were cutting the ribbon, she and I talked about me coming to one of your meetings and just sharing with you a little bit about what a community foundation is and some of the things we're focusing on. So my trusty partner here is Kirk Engelhardt. He's our Vice President of Communications. And also joining me is Sherry Brown Grosvenor, our Vice President of Community Impact, Kelly Marmel, our Vice President of Philanthropy, and also the Vice Chair of our board, Jonathan Allen, who you may know, he's a member of the team of the Broward County. So we have a great group of folks here tonight. So is it possible to put the PowerPoint up? Oh, great. Okay, next slide. I can click it myself, right? Oh, great. Okay, better. Sorry. I promise I've not had any adult beverages. It's been a good day. And so here's a slide I put together of several different definitions of what a community foundation is. I'm not going to go through all of them, but what's important is that we're a public charity and we serve a geographic area. So community foundations can serve a city, a county, a region, or a state. Ours serves a county. We are focused on solving community problems. We are also really try to grow an endowment. So that means that we receive funds, we invest them in the market, and then the earnings from those funds are what we grant out and invest in the community. So the point of this is that we raise $1 once and invest it, and we don't have to raise that dollar again. The dollar is working for us, and we're able to invest that money in the community. So we can receive money, and we can grant it out. Now, to give you an idea of how many community foundations there are about 1,000 nationwide. They can be in rural or urban areas. About half of them have gone through a standards process. We're the first community foundation in Florida to go through that standards process. And right now, out of the 1,000, we rank at 83. So pretty good, and we have about $300 million in assets. Now, if we're 83, so if you looked at the top 50 and you took their total assets, those exceed $80 billion. So the largest community foundations really have significant assets in multi-billions of dollars. So we're on our way, and we'll be there one day. And Florida has 27 community foundations, and the total assets managed by those exceed $4 billion. So anyway, I thought you would find just what the heck is a community foundation helpful. And of course, ChatGPT has the best one. Community foundations are charitable organizations that pool donations from individuals, from families and businesses, and they provide support to a geographic area, and they play a vital role in promoting philanthropy and community. Now, this is a nice illustration because it talks about what the heck is an endowment. So Mary Porter was a wonderful woman, believed in lots of different organizations, and was a great philanthropist in Broward. She passed away around 2010, and her estate came to the Community Foundation about 2012. About $44 million came to us. It was our largest single gift. So since 2012, her fund has granted out 463 different grants that total more than $26 million, and that fund is still valued at $44 million. So we could have spent it once and it had been gone, or we can spend it a little bit every year. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what the heck is an endowment and why is it important. So thinking about, as a community, how do we build endowments for us? How do we build one for the environment? How do we build one for children? How do we build one for the city of Dania Beach? So these are the things we're starting to think about and work on. Okay, so this is something I put together that just talks about what is it that why are we valuable? What are we trying to help the community with? So we want to be a valued partner. We want to elevate giving and philanthropy across this community. We want to provide help in sophisticated grant making. We have deep knowledge of issues in this community. We want to bring other funders to the table so that we could have a significant grant for instance, the Love Murals, we have about 5 or 7 different funders. We all pooled our money, and we're doing those murals in 9 different cities over about 4 years. So all of that has to be managed, and we're pretty good at that. We're really proud of that. Another thing we're working on is engaging families in giving, and how do they pass their wealth to the next generation and make sure the next generation supports the things that were important to the family, but then adds on things that are important to the next generation. So they're keeping the spirit alive, but they're adding the youth to it as well. So we're really working on helping families pass their wealth and grant it and give it in the community they live and love. We also have a whole department that's focused on serving nonprofits. How can we help the nonprofits we all depend on for our kids' after school programs, for our health care, for the parks that we love? How do we help those organizations operate better and more efficiently, because we're so dependent on them? So we have a whole department and training opportunities for nonprofits. And then finally, we always want to be talking about the endowment, why that's important. Okay, at a glance, we have almost 600 funds. Our assets are over 300 million. This past year, we granted out $20 million. So we manage about 300 million. We grant out 20 million. Since we were founded, we've granted out over 200 million. This is interesting. We have another 180 people who have put the Community Foundation in their estate plans. So when they pass, they say, I'd like to make sure that the Community Foundation grants money out for kids, for parks, for cancer, and we take care of doing that in their name. So their name lives forever. It's very special. So almost $500 million has been documented by about 180 people that we know is coming to us, maybe in the next 20 or 30 years. Thankfully for those people, everyone who puts the Community Foundation in their will lives a very, very, very long time. So anyway, but I think it's really nice to know that many people have done their estate plans and they've thought about what they want their legacy to be, and they're trusting the Community Foundation to be a caretaker of that. So we take it seriously. So anyway, that's a little summary. Let's see. One of the things we're really proud of is we try to do a lot of research and provide information to help our nonprofits, to help our philanthropists be as impactful as possible with their giving. So these are a few of the topics we've done research and led different initiatives around. AIDS and HIV, we were the first private organization in Broward to fund research and education about AIDS in the late 80s and early 90s. It's something that's a core part of the Community Foundation. We advocated for the reauthorization of the Children's Services Council Act, and we also do a lot to support the arts, and we've done a lot with the school district. So anyway, these are a few examples. We also advocated with Children's Services Council and United Way when there was a big gap for kids who were transitioning out of foster care, and there wasn't a system to support them. So along with those partners, we helped build that system, which now has kind of become a national model for other communities as well. Here are a few of the issues we're looking at in the future. We know that boys and girls are learning at different rates in schools, and it's affecting literacy, it's affecting graduation rates, it's having a huge impact on children with special needs. So we're going to be doing a lot of work with the school district to look at that achievement gap, what's the root cause of it, and what are different methodologies that could be employed at the school level, at the classroom level, at the district level to help fix that. It's an issue statewide. The Helios Foundation has been a big champion of this, and so we're trying to bring that to Broward. We're working with the Florida Children's Initiative to bring a Harlem Children's Zone to Pompano, and then if we can do that successfully, we can bring that to other places in Broward. Maternal and infant health is a big issue, as you know, and Memorial and Broward Health are now banding together to work on that, and we'll be part of that Better Together initiative. College and career readiness for our kids is big. Bringing art and culture programs countywide is always an issue. And we see this with a lot of the nonprofits that we work with, making sure that their boards and their staff, especially their CEOs, reflect the diversity of our community. So how do we make sure that we're building boards and staffs for nonprofits that represent and reflect the diversity of our community so they can be able to serve them? That's very important to us. Let's see. Oh, finally, from me, this is interesting. These are some of the issues that we're really working on to study, to figure out how we can continue to grant and invest and do research. So these are the issues that have come to me through community conversations in the last few months. Homelessness, housing affordability, workforce housing, food insecurity. We heard that today, again, continues to be a big issue. Youth from many perspectives, job exposure, job readiness, support for academic success and mental health, senior isolation. We have a disproportionate number of seniors countywide. A lot of them live in poverty or almost in poverty, and they're very isolated. So that's a big issue. I talked about the nonprofits already. And then the final one that's come up several times is how many people have the right for access to benefits and some legal support, but they don't know it. They don't even know they have a right to it. They don't know how to access it. So we're looking at how we can help bolster that. Sherry, I'll just keep going if you're okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go quick just so you can see, these are some of our grant-making frameworks. These are the areas that we grant in: education, youth enrichment, social economic mobility, healthy and thriving communities, art and culture, supporting the nonprofit community, and building community and opportunity. So those are our 6 areas we try to focus on. And then next are a few examples of some of our partnerships. We work with our fund to grant over $400,000 to support the LGBT community. We partnered with Oakland Park. They established a fund to support parks, education, and the quality of life in Oakland Park. The Florida Wildlife Corridor, we did a great initiative with them to put classroom learning sites at Flamingo Gardens, Birch State Park, and the Museum of Discovery and Science. And we're also working with the City of Lauderhill to set up a fund to support their community. And we're, as I mentioned, we're doing the Harlem Children's Zone in Pompano. So here in Dania Beach, we support the St. Ruth Missionary Baptist Church, we support the South Florida Community Land Trust, and the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center. So those are 3 that are really important to us and we're really proud to do here in Dania Beach. And finally, our favorite thing in the world, the Lead with Love mural. There are 9 that will go in: Dania Beach, Las Olas, Pompano, Plantation, Huizenga Park, and Hollywood are the 6 that are either done or in process. So I'm so happy that Hollywood's in the house too. We feel like this is a great attraction for our community and a reason for people to get involved and to be a part of bringing art to life. And we still got to figure out the site for 3 more, but we're so proud of our Dania Beach one, and I hope you love it as much as we do. And these are just a few ways that we can partner with the city. Several cities have their own funds at the Community Foundation. We can help be a bridge with your residents and with other nonprofits. Hopefully, we can listen and learn from you about critical issues that your residents are facing, and maybe there are some programs that we could help enact with you. Again, be an advocate with the state and national level on local priorities for your community, and always to be promoting philanthropy and how important it is, especially at the local level. This is what we can control, and this is where we can have an impact and be positive, and that's why I love our job and I love getting to work in philanthropy. So the last thing I'll say is one of the latest studies we did was about giving in Broward, and some of the findings were really interesting. We have a lot of young people in Broward, so the age of our citizens and giving, we still have a little work to catch up. People give in many different ways that may not be counted as a traditional way of giving. So as we look at philanthropy in Broward, we have to look at it a little bit more broadly and think about giving in different perspectives. Building trust with organizations is critically important, so we have to help nonprofits learn how to build trust with their constituents, and also helping people develop strategic plans and help them have a plan for their giving, and help organizations have a strategic plan for their operation are important. So those are a few takeaways from our study, and that is it. So that, in a nutshell, is a little bit about the Community Foundation and why we're so proud to have a mural in your city. So thank you, thank you, thank you, commissioners. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay up here for just a
ma'am.
second. We do want a photo, but
Oh,
I
okay.
want to thank you and see if there's any questions first. But I really appreciate all the opportunity that you brought to the city of Dania Beach. Thank you for putting us on the cover
I know, I love it.
of your community news magazine. But I can see that there's so many different ways that we could partner and continue the partnership, knowing that we're not working in silos and working together as a team. It's just really the direction I believe we want to go. And so as far as next steps, city manager, if we wanted to continue these conversations, what would you recommend?
We would love for myself and the deputy city manager to meet with you. And then, we're going to be having one-on-ones with the elected officials in regards to the budget. So I think that this is the perfect time to see
great. Okay.
how we can partner together for the greater good of our community.
Well, I was honored to travel with your city manager to Boston for the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance trip, and so we got to spend a little time together. So that'll be a perfect follow-up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any questions?
Let me see, because I don't have any further questions from
Was it helpful?
Yes, very helpful, very helpful. And we have a request for a photo.
Can we do a photo with you?
Come on.
All right.
And thank your board for attending as well.
Oh, yes. You guys stay here, we'll come in front.
Okay, that's perfect.
I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm doing a good job.
She does it all.
Hold it a minute. Our city people want to take a picture.
Oh, hold on. One more. There's always one more. I always say there's always
Were
one.
you on break back?
AJ, I got one more. There's always one more.
Great. Ready.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this was our first presentation. I did mean to request, I have a second request for a presentation, and I'm seeking from Dr. Gerardo for Resilient Broward Countywide Resilience Plan, and I'm seeking consensus from the commission to have that second presentation. Have consensus? Thank you. All right, Dr. Gerardo, Jennifer, we got two Dr. Jennifers. I got all
How
crazy with two Dr. Jennifers in one evening. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the invitation, and I will work to be brief. The invitation came following a presentation before the League of Cities Board of Directors meeting, where we had the opportunity to share the recently released Countywide Resilience Plan. I know that you all here in the city of Dania Beach are well familiar with the issues of flood risk and impacts. This effort has been driven by the fact that we are seeing countywide and in our coastal communities more in the way of frequent, intense, expansive flooding associated with sea level rise, higher intensity rainfall events, groundwater table rise, and we know that these trends will continue, and we know that they require abatement, and we also know that Without intervention, we will see more in the way of economic impacts, disruptions for our businesses, our residents, affecting cost of living and quality of life in our community. So we have for years been working on future conditions planning, and we've worked with your staff and your leadership on many of these initiatives, and know that you are well aware and taking your own steps as well. But in a coordinated strategy, we were gained the consensus of our municipal leadership and business leadership to undertake a countywide resilience strategy that would work to develop adaptation efforts focused on this flood risk reduction, as well as the economic outcomes that are associated with early and effective investment. And this is the outline for the work that was just recently completed. It commenced in 2017. We wrapped it up this year, and we launched the website just a couple of weeks ago, which I will introduce to you. But the long and short is that we did a lot of modeling of combined future conditions flood scenarios that take into account the factors that I just described. We looked at the overall exposure. We then worked with our consultant team to develop a suite of adaptation strategies to mitigate flooding. And we looked at 2 time horizons, 2050, where we expect about 2 feet of realized sea level rise relative to 2010, and 2070, where we organize around 3 feet of sea level rise with a combination of rainfall, etc. The banner on the right provides a summary of the types of investments that were modeled in the adaptation work. And all this information is online. The portal that's used for accessing the flood conditions and the risk reductions is also accessible online at resilientbroward.com. Here, you can telescope into the city of Dania Beach, which I've done here. You can query for an address. You can query and combine different conditions that might contribute to flood stages. And you can see in this scenario, I presented the before and after for the adaptation strategies that we looked at, and you can see the reduced flood depth because we moved from red to a very light yellow, and reduced expanse of area that's impacted by the flooding based upon the strategies we looked at. They are not exhaustive. Clearly, there's lots of other compatible work that can be undertaken, but this is what we modeled. Here is a summary of what we included for the city of Dania Beach. You can see that we divided projects for the 2 different time frames. We looked at a combination of storage, water management, pumps, seawalls that are also very critical to keeping water at bay while we store and move water better. And it will require, in the end, a combination of public and private investment. Some happens through redevelopment and the new standards we put in place that simply require more, and some will require active public investment to address the sorts of landscape level improvements that need to be undertaken while we also invest in individual properties. In total, countywide, we estimated that the totality of what we modeled for the flood reduction benefits that we produced are about $28 billion. For Dania Beach, we saw a 78% reduction in damage losses that would be otherwise anticipated in the community. We expect 2/3 of these costs will likely occur through private redevelopment over decades, yes. And some of this, about 1/3, will require public investment, public financing, and it will be important to get those improvements in ground, in place before the impacts are realized. We modeled that the investments that we identified as part of adaptation strategies would deliver these benefits. And this was work that was undertaken by McKinsey Global, a renowned economics entity focused on risk analytics. $4 billion in annual average avoided losses or damage to property, preservation of $750 million in economic activity annually, preservation of $20 billion in flood insurance across the county because we maintain affordability through risk reduction, preserving $30 billion in residential and commercial real estate value, and protecting $1 billion a year in ad valorem revenues that are critical to our delivery of public services. The whole of the plan, and a lot of detail that I can't cover here, is available online at the same site, resilientbroward.com. We have a condensed version of the plan, the portal, dashboards. We just completed this week a project tracking tool where collectively we can begin to tally the projects that are detailed, how they're advanced, and the other work that's taking place across the communities. And the beauty of that project tracking is we build it into our model. And the next time that FEMA uses this model, which they do use our model, to update our current flood maps, we'll be able to capture the benefits that are taking place in our community. And that's how we begin to realize the economic benefits at a personal level, in addition to just simply the avoided losses. But this is how we capture it through insurance. So in total, we are aware of the risks that face all of our communities. We saw that in Texas recently. We've seen it in our own community here in Broward County, in Dania, Hollywood, out west as well. But we know what it looks like. We believe we know how to address it. We can be effective in addressing it. And I think the important message is working together to identify the projects, the funding that we need. These are maximum dollar costs. These don't account for the cost shares that we can bring in through strategic partnerships. And that's part of the work that we need to do together, acting early through a phased but immediate, because time is of the essence, to put these projects in the ground, begin making those improvements and delivering the risk reduction that our community needs and will require. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to any questions outside of the meeting or today to help with any of the details of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gerardo. I don't see any questions from the commission, but I do, I know that you have the climate summit coming up that's going to be in West Palm Beach. And are some of these conversations about these strategic partnerships going to be addressed there? Or could you let us know a little bit more about how we can network and create some of these strategic partnerships?
Thank you for that invitation. So the Compact 4 County Summit will be held in Palm Beach in December. There will be some discussion of partnerships there, yes. In October of this year, we will be hosting the Countywide Resilience Roundtable, which the city has had representation at, and I believe you've been a regular participant.
Yeah.
That's going to be held the third week of October, and we do need to have more of this discussion at that time. This project was born out of that roundtable, and it does invite the participation of our elected leadership, our business leadership, some of our state partners to talk about the next steps and how we move forward. And I think that that is a critical conversation. And then I'll just a teaser, in 2026, Broward County will be hosting our annual summit. And that's really an opportunity for Broward to shine for all the work that we do together and the partnerships that are helping to move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gerardo. Very important information. Resilience is such a top priority for us. And when we're looking at, we're just invested in the $34 million Southeast Drainage Project, and we're looking at how we can partner more. So thank you so much for this very important presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Dr. Gerardo. Great presentation. I appreciate what you've done for the county and for our city. I know we went over this before, but I just want to state it because you're in our city and we don't get you very often. It's a real pleasure. You guys are working with the South Florida Water Management District as well. And I remember that we discussed it in Candido, and we went and met with South Florida Water Management District. And when they're talking about the levees, have they ever reviewed the water height level of the levees, when the water comes east into Dania?
So the levee, thank you, Commissioner Ryan, the levee on the west coast to Broward was reviewed several years ago. There was a study in coordination with FEMA, and the levee was upgraded in order to ensure its function and flood protection in order to meet standards for a 100-year storm event. That occurred following Katrina and I think the failures that had occurred in Louisiana at that time, and it was required for recertification and the modeling of our flood maps. But we continue to work with the South Florida Water Management District and the Army Corps of Engineers on the totality of the canal network and that system. And we know that the structures that are critical for flood protection are failing. We know that those need to be upgraded. We're working on that study. We'll need to bring the capital to those projects, and we'll need to upgrade with time some of the banks and so forth that serve as part of the flood path alongside the upgrade of seawalls that will need to happen by private property and public entities. Did I answer your question correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. I mainly wanted that for more information for the city and our residents, and I definitely appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you. Thank you.
City manager has a
Thank you, Dr.
Comment.
Gerardo. Your presentation was fantastic. We look forward to representing on the staff side, sending our city engineer and probably other members of our team to the summit in Palm Beach. And we, for the past 5 years, we have invested unprecedented numbers to mitigate, these challenges that we're facing. So thank you for all you do, and we look forward to working with you.
Perfect. I do too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Great presentation, Dr. Gerardo. Up next, we have item 3.3, presentation of proposed landscape design for Dania Beach Boulevard East Citywide Landscape Master Plan by KCI Public Services. Good evening, Fernando.
Good evening, Fernando Rodriguez, Public Services Director. Good evening, all, and our public watching on TV and everyone here. I'll just introduce briefly the Director of Landscape Architecture for KCI, Kirk Husak. I've known Kirk for quite a while. He used to also do some work for us in another city I was at before I came here. KCI is a very, very strong landscape architecture arm, and they have developed for us our master plan for landscaping, which really involves all the major corridors to be refurbished, the medians with new landscaping, irrigation, etc. So I won't steal any of his thunder. I'll let him take over from here.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Fernando. All right. Thank you. So Dania Beach Boulevard is the project that we're going to be looking at today. It is one of the priority corridors of the 6 that are in the master plan. The master plan is right now in for final review, so you guys should be seeing that shortly. So we're excited about that as well. So this project is going to be taking Dania Beach from US 1 down to the city limit on the east end. This project, when it got started, we decided, hey, there's an opportunity to get with DOT and get a grant. They have a Highway Beautification Council grant. So we worked with the grant program here with Sean Shutton and applied actually for 2 different grants. So we split the project in half, and we were able to win over $200,000 in funding for this project's construction. The project in total is just a hair under $400,000, so the grant will pay for more than half of the improvements. The project's a little over a mile long and has about 10 medians. Most of them are plannable. 75% of the road is plannable. We are looking at preserving existing landscape and canopy, particularly the palm trees, removing anything that's unsafe, providing a new landscape that's Florida friendly and mostly salt tolerant as well, given the proximity to the coast here, meeting all the safety criteria, which I'll cover some in the next slide, and then a new irrigation system on the east end. The west side already has irrigation. It's going to have a few upgrades and with equipment, and then the new irrigation will be on the east end of the project. So I'm going to read this in a lot of detail. I'm just kidding. So this is design criteria. There's some of the existing landscape does not meet all this design criteria. There's really 3 different design criteria. 2 of them are depicted here. One are the horizontal clearance, which is narrow medians. We are going to go to the Department of Transportation and ask for variances to keep all this existing landscape. We usually have a pretty high success rate, so we feel pretty confident in that, as well as the 100-foot setback, which is an area limited to ground cover from intersections. We're going to fight to keep those trees as well. And lastly, site design criteria. This happens in mostly areas where we have signals that go to flashing at night. So we'll be looking to keep a lot of those trees and palms as well. So this is the plant palette. I'm sorry, it's a little bit small. Gumbo limbos, sables, again, more of a beachy theme. Royals, thatch palms, crepe myrtles, and then a bunch of shrubs and grasses. This plan is roughly 60%, so there's still room for adjustments if there's something that we don't like or is not a preference to the city. So here's one of we have two different medians, restricted and unrestricted. The restricted ones are usually narrow with sight lines in them, but this is unrestricted, so it's got a little bit of a wider section and less sight lines, so we can do a little bit more. So this is one of the proposals for the unrestricted median. You can see the existing royals in there, supplemented with some other trees and shrubs. And then this is an example of a restricted median. And you're going to see skinnier palms further apart and very low shrubs. And then this is near the eastern gateway of the Dania Beach Boulevard at the east end of the city. One of the final medians. We're going to be bulking that up and make Hollywood jealous. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I open it up for any questions.
Thank you so much. We love landscaping here in the city of Dania Beach as part of our strategic plan, so we're glad to see that you're going to step up the landscaping here in the city. We have a comment from Commissioner Romoli.
Question, comment. It's my pet peeve is really the entrance to our city on Federal Highway from New Griffin to Old Griffin. I think there's a tremendous opportunity to really spruce that up and make us look like a real beautiful entrance. And I know I've had these discussions before, and is there any thought on that? Is that part of your plan?
Yes, so US 1 will probably be the next phase in design. Right now we're doing Dania. We've already done Griffin. So Griffin was broken up into two pieces. The western end, which is already done, and I think has got a lot of good feedback. Yeah. And the next section, which is the east side of Griffin, is going to be starting construction very soon. We actually have the construction meeting later this week with the contractor that was selected. This was Dania. The next one should be US 1. And
you're familiar with the location I'm talking about?
By the railroad tracks and the entry sign?
It's just before you get to Old Griffin Road. When you come into Dania Beach from New Griffin, there is some landscaping, some trees, and then you get to a median that is completely vacant of nothing. There's just nothing there. And, we have this beautiful signage coming into our entrance, nice landscaping. We see a few little trees and then nothing. And the focus of attention is now to the railroad tracks to the left, and it's just not a good look. And I think we just have some really good opportunities there to make a big impact with a fairly inexpensive amount of money, I would think.
Yeah, we're looking at doing the whole section of US 1 within the city limits.
Okay.
That's in the plan.
And then the other question I had was the planting and the material that you're looking at, is it drought tolerant?
Yes, even though there is irrigation, what we plant is drought tolerant. In the event that the irrigation goes down, it's just more sustainable that way.
Yeah, because I noticed on Dania Beach Boulevard, some of I don't know what the plant names are, the bushes, the shrubs, they kind of all died out when we had a real severe drought. And they started growing back after we got some rain, but it's really helpful to have drought-tolerant planting just to make sure that they don't die off.
Yeah, our specialty is planting on areas without irrigation and making them survive, so we're confident that we'll have good success.
Okay, thank you so much. It looks beautiful, by the way. It looks great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. Commissioner Ryan, hold on.
Thank you, Mary. Excuse me, sir. I had one question for you. Thank you for the presentation. So this is, all of Dania Beach Boulevard. But as you know, and it's funny that Hollywood's here, and we mentioned them multiple times, we do share Dania Beach Boulevard, or, Jimmy Buffett Memorial Highway that they call, with the city of Hollywood. Is there any way that you could approach City of Hollywood to have continuity down Dania Beach Boulevard? Where we could do,
absolutely.
I see a commissioner in the audience who could listen. They could always annex the property to us also, but I'm just saying, when we go down Dania Beach Boulevard, you could tell. If you did this project and look at the boundaries, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I just think that would definitely be a bright idea, because most people don't know that there's a separation and there's no need for it anyways, just to have a continuous, beautiful median the whole way to the bridge.
That's absolutely possible.
Thank you. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Oh, so the FDOT grant opens again in July. It was just funded, so any city is welcome to apply for it.
All right, thank you for that presentation. Thank you for your comments. And so we will move on to item 3.4, special event applications with Parks and Recreation and the White Family Southeast Fee Waiver. Do I have consensus from the commission? Oh, hold on. Commissioner Llewellyn.
So I don't have a problem with this. My issue is we haven't been doing waivers any longer. And I still think that it is a better practice to do money in, money out. So instead of doing a waiver, I would rather see the money get paid from something, whether it's our contingency or I take it out of mine, I don't care. But I think that would be the better practice as opposed to reimbursing somebody for a fee.
I'm in agreement with that. Do we have a commission consensus to take it from our contingency fund, commission contingency fund? Then we'll do that. How much is it?
It's like $425.
Okay.
It's a
Under 500.
Yeah, it's a small amount of money, but
Okay.
it's just just
Thank you.
following the best practices.
It helps us a lot with accounting.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn, for that suggestion. We certainly want to support the White family. And we will move on to item 3.5, request for proclamation approvals. I have the International Overdose Day on August 31st, 2025, sponsored by Mayor Davis, myself, and then we have Parks and Recreation Month, July 2025. It is Parks and Recreation Month, guys. Yay! All right. Do I have consensus, commission, to for those proclamations? And so I just really wanted to say before I read the proclamation for Parks and Recreation, just what an amazing job you guys do. I know we say it at Dayton After Dark here and there and everywhere, but Cassie, you have led your team phenomenally. We have never had so many people come and attend so many events. Anthony, your whole team, Tyrone and Neil, oh my God, I'm going to start, but you guys do such an amazing job, and the city has never been in a better position than it is right now with this Parks and Recreation team. So I will not have any further ado, and I will read this proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation enhances the quality of life for its residents by providing places of enjoyment through recreation and educational programming and leisure activities, allowing opportunities for young people to live, grow, and develop their full potential, and for older citizens to maintain their health and continue their positive life experience. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthens neighborhood involvements and promotes cultural diversity, and whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles for all ages, and whereas Parks and Recreation increases communities' economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation programming and educational activities such as out-of-school time programming, fitness, and after-school programming are critical to childhood development. And whereas we recognize July as Parks and Recreation Month, we recognize the vital contributions employees and volunteers in parks in public parks and recreation facilities who keep public parks clean and safe for visitors, organize youth and senior activities, and provide health and fitness activities, offer to learn to swim programs, plan special events, present cultural arts programs, provide social services, organize youth sports leagues, and advocate for more open space and better bikeways and trails. And whereas the City of Dania Beach remains committed and continue to the development of the 2019 Parks Master Plan, with the ongoing construction of over $23 million on a multi-generational community center, indoor gymnasium, outdoor pool, AstroTurf football field, outdoor basketball court, playground, exercise equipment, a walking path at C.W. Thomas Park, beginning the design of the P.J. Milley Aquatic Complex Park improvements. And whereas our Parks and Recreation is proud to offer programs and services that enhance the quality of life for our residents and visitors, ensuring that Dania Beach remains an attractive place to see it, live it, and love it. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach, I, Joyce L. Davis, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month here in the city of Dania Beach, Florida, and recognize the benefits derived from the Parks and Recreation's resources. Congratulations to the Parks and Recreation Department. Now, we should go. Cassie, would you like to say a few words for your team? And I love that outfit.
No, we just are so grateful. We love what we do. We do it because it's a passion of ours, and we thank you all as the commission, mayor, vice mayor, city manager for, helping us keep our dreams alive and do what we love and support all of the fun and exciting things that we come up with. This team, it's fantastic. Couldn't do it without any of them. I call it a dream team over in Parks. So, but we do it because we love it. It's our passion. And again, we can't do it without your support. So thank you.
Second to none. Come on. We have to take a picture with Parks. We have to be in the picture with Parks. Yes, Les, we have to take
Oh, yeah,
a picture
and it starts in Parks.
Starts in Parks. And I love your outfit. Again, I love it. My bag is so heavy.
Right before the freaking trip.
Wait, I wasn't laughing. I'll do that again.
She's moving the furniture.
We are.
Parks. That's not a good cheese.
All right.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you all. Cassie, thank you to all your parts.
Great job, guys.
You guys did a great job.
Love you, girl.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Thank you, guys.
And Parks is a happy department. Cassie brings such good energy. You guys are such a great energy team. And IT, there is an IT month. There is a technical.
Ralph, so cute.
Vice Mayor, did you want to say something?
Did I hit the button again?
Yeah, you pressed it again. All right, thank you, Parks. Thank you all. That was a feel-good moment. We really love our Parks Department. All right, and now we will move on to administrative reports. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, special guests, our city team, and the residents that are watching at home. We're very excited. Our first ever master plan on landscaping, as the gentleman talked about, what we've done on Griffin, and rest assured, every single major corridor in our city will be turned into beautiful beautification projects. So we're very excited about that. We have delivered your proposed budgets with the award-winning mural here, the nationally acclaimed award-winning mural. And I want to thank our finance director. She is truly remarkable. And this is the earliest the city has ever had a completed proposed budget to the city commission. So we're very happy. All the one-on-ones for you all have been set through your chief of staff, Maxine. Thank you so much. And we're very excited because And the theme for this year is leading during challenging times. And I always tell our team, it's very easy to sail in smooth waters, but a true captain becomes a great captain when you're able to overcome challenging moments and those rough seas. And this has been a challenging budget, but we have something really remarkable here that is aligned with your unanimously adopted strategic plan and the vision for our city. So the best for Dania Beach is yet to come. So we really look forward to this budget. Speaking of finance, and I'm going out of order, our smart meters, it's a great program. We're 51% complete with our smart meters ahead of schedule. And this is really taking, again, Dania Beach to new heights with our smart meters. We actually had a workshop here last week, and we had people from other cities, including Fort Lauderdale, here to see how we roll things out, how we communicate to people. So again, taking communication, transparency, and what we do to new heights. I could highlight every single one of our city departments in my manager's report, but today I'm focusing on procurement, because so much of what we do means a baton that gets from one hand to another hand, from one department to another department. And sometimes we see the finished project. We see the groundbreakings, we see the ribbon cutting, but procurement is truly doing a remarkable job. You have open solicitations for Frost Park, the sports court renovation and conversion project, Lift Station 11, the rebuild. We have pending awards for the construction manager at risk for PJ Millick Aquatic Complex. We have the calibrations and repairs of the flow meters and related devices, design services for the Chester Bird Park improvements, upcoming drafting the rehab for Lift Stations 4, Lift Station 6, the CCNA continuing services, surveillance equipment, maintenance and monitoring, Fire Station 1 mitigation, Ocean Park janitorial services, utility rate study, employee uniforms, brands apparel, directional boring phase 3 with our median. So there's just so much going on in procurement, and we are really proud of Sasha and the team there. Also, on Monday, June 30th, our public services team began to place American flags throughout our city, focusing on major entryway points. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with Nanette, our marketing director. Next year, we turn 250 years old. So I know the mayor's super excited. We are going to be kicking off some truly remarkable events. You know, we did it with our 120th. So we're already in the plan, in the works, in regards to what we're going to bring to you. And actually, we want to get some suggestions for what you would like to see in the city in regards to this big celebration for 250 years of our independence. On July the 2nd, I met with Director Cassie Warren to go over summer camp and discuss our ongoing commitment to enhancing what we do and how we do it. Every single one of our summer camps sold out. First time ever. It's truly remarkable. So we never we don't rest on our laurels. We're already looking at what we could do. How do we take our renovated IT center and look at a theater camp? We have a beautiful, beautiful stage there. We're looking at a multi-sports camp at CW, which, by the way, is ahead of schedule. Every time I go by, it's just looking remarkable. It's just, the painting is starting. So it's everywhere you turn in the city, you see what we call the renaissance of Dania Beach. We're very excited. After a meeting on June 30th with key members of our city team, we did an adjustment. We have this initiative called See Something, Say Something, which is, we can never have enough eyes on our city. But we were talking to some of our residents and even to some of our employees that they felt like see something, say something. They kind of felt like they were tattling. So what we're doing now is rebranding that and kind of focusing on the eagle eye. We have the eagle that represents RISE. And one of the things the mayor and I talk about is the attention to detail. So we're going to be rebranding that. We're also going to be coming out with 2 initiatives, because I've read many books about how the private sector seeks comments and seeks out suggestions from everyone in their organization. We believe that everywhere here in our organization, from our part-timers in Parks and Rec to our public services team, can come up with great ideas. And during challenging times, that's when we got to pivot. So we're going to be coming up with a program that's going to reward employees for savings initiatives and revenue generating initiatives. So we're working very closely with our marketing team, with our H-Star team. So that's coming forward, and we're very, very excited about that. We have two other initiatives too that we're going to be rolling out, and we're going to have some one-on-one conversations with you as we meet regarding budget. Our July core conversation community meeting will take place on Thursday, the 8th. That will be this Thursday at the Southwest Community Center. And we rescheduled our August core conversation, and that will take place August 20th at IT Parker Center. At the last core meeting that we had, we were able to meet new residents, and one of them discussed with us the opportunity to put them in contact with some of our local hotels, because there was going to be work at some of their housing complexes. So I'm very, very happy to report, and I want to shout out to Carol Costa, the Director of Sales at Wyndham. They have come up with a great group deal. So we've put them in contact with the folks from Sheridan East. So we're very happy that conversation has turned out to one less thing that they have to worry about, because they'll be staying at the Wyndham. So shout out to the Wyndham, and working very closely in this partnership that we have with them. Our city team, FDOT and the Joe Milton Group have been working seamlessly on the Gulfstream Road Improvement Project. And I cannot emphasize enough that if you knock on doors and if you ask people, it's unheard of that the private sector will write out a check in excess of $300,000 to help our city. So by the end of the month, the roads will be clear, and most of the things that they were going to do in phase 2 have already been completed in phase 1. So we're very, very excited about that project and the partnership and the completion of that project as well. All our one-on-ones are scheduled. One thing that I also want to discuss, on Wednesday, June 25th, we hosted the Smart Meter Workshop. And I know I mentioned it again, but it's very, very important because having folks from Coconut Creek and a city like Fort Lauderdale that's so much bigger than us coming to our meetings and tapping into us and what we're doing and really seeking advice says a lot about the team that we've been able to assemble and the work that's happening here in our city. So we're very excited about that, and we'll keep updating you. But 51% of the meters, very, very, very great job, and kudos to the entire team. For your perusal, I have included an email. And we always talk about the baton and how it gets passed. And I can't say enough about the woman to my left. I've known her for such a long time. So we were discussing that we can never knock on enough doors. And this is something that I was discussing with Commissioner Rimoli yesterday, because we've been very successful in Tallahassee. Very, very successful. Record amount of monies have come in the past 5 years here. This year, not so much. There was $500 million that were cut from the budget. But guess what? Back in October of 23, I get a random call from our former chief of staff, and I know many of you know her, Nicole Gomez-Goldmeyer. Mayor, I know you've known her for a long time. And she said, manager, I have this attorney that's working on PFAS. I didn't know what PFAS was, but long story short is contamination in the water. And I said, send me the name, Mr. James Ferraro. Immediately, I passed the baton over to our city attorney. And within 2 weeks, they were already meeting. We had contracted them. And we just got the news to the tune of an excess of $1.5 million that the city is going to be receiving. I couldn't have done it without Eve, because I passed the baton and Eve is ready to take it to the finish line. So kudos. And if it wasn't that Nicole Gomez is like almost 9 months pregnant, about to deliver, I am going to bring her here and I am going to give her her due, her kudos, because it's though we talk about relationships. And Nicole, we haven't worked together in 6.5 years, but for her to pick up the phone and call us, because she also has a relationship with all of you as well. So I wanted to end the meeting on such a good note, and we're all looking forward to the summer break. but the city is running on all cylinders. We couldn't do it without your support, without Candido Sosa Cruz, all these department directors, our chief of fire, our chief of police, ensuring that the strategy and your priorities are implemented every single day here. Thank you so much, and this concludes my report.
Fantastic news, City Manager. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that report and ending us on a great note for the summer break. And we will have our City Attorney report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and everyone in the audience. I keep it short. I sent you an updated list of all the bills that have been signed into legislation, and I've given you also some bills, although they may not directly affect the municipality, the government itself, it does also affect bills that affect our residents. So I've added those to the end of the list. It's a very long document. Some of it is very dense. Only read the ones that say signed by the governor. And secondly, I was going to mention the PFAS litigation, which was the class action you all agreed to join in 2023. The manager's taken that one over, so I just say we have one other class action that we're involved with. It's the opioid settlement litigation, and we have some settlement numbers coming in. You'll get that at the next meeting. I just don't have the numbers for tonight's meeting. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Eve, for that report, and great teamwork by the both of you. And now we have our city clerk reminders.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, your next meeting is August 26th. You'll have a nice little break. Enjoy your summer break. You'll start out at 6 p.m. with your CRA and then 7 p.m. with your city commission meeting. Thank you. Enjoy your break.
Thank you. You do the same. All right. Up next, we have item 6, our public safety reports, and we have our very own Captain Jason Tarala.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk. I'll start off by highlighting our LPR system. And I know when we made this investment last year with obviously the Commission's approval, you hear countless amount of arrests we've got. This is another one I want to highlight. We received a LPR hit earlier in the week off of our LPRs. It also then hit off of the Hollywood LPR. And just so you all know that we are linked together, which is great. So the LPR system in Dania is linked to the Hollywood LPR system. They have access to ours, we have access to theirs, so we can work together. After the vehicle hit off of our LPR system, it also then hit off of the Hollywood LPR system. Our units were in the area, and they observed the vehicle traveling down Sheridan Street, coming back into Dania. We got behind the vehicle. We conducted a felony traffic stop once it was in a safe location, and the vehicle stopped, and we were able to safely arrest both of the occupants of the vehicle. The vehicle was confirmed stolen out of the city of Tamarack, and both of these juvenile suspects were placed into custody for possession of the stolen vehicle, and we were able to get that car back to the rightful owner in the city of Tamarack. Also last week, over at the Red Carpet Inn off of Dania Beach, off of 2460 State Road 7, we responded in reference to a male who was screaming, yelling. He appeared to be in a extreme altered mental state. Upon arrival, seeing our deputies, he began taking flight. Our deputies had a foot pursuit. They were able to get him safely into custody. Once they got him into custody, which they didn't know was right before our arrival, this gentleman attacked the workers of the hotel with a knife and threatened to kill them. So based on our deputies getting there quickly and getting this individual into custody, we were able to safely get this very violent individual into custody, and he was taken to the main jail for aggravated assault with a weapon. And also, while our deputy last week was doing a proactive traffic stop over in the 800 block of Sterling Road, he conducted a random traffic stop, and upon making contact with the driver of the vehicle, he smelled marijuana. He got the driver out of the vehicle. He also observed a fully loaded Springfield Hellcat 9mm handgun inside the vehicle. A check of this individual showed that he had a permanent protection order against him for domestic violence, not allowing him to have any possessions of weapons, especially firearms, on his possession. Because of this proactivity, this individual was arrested, and he was charged with violating his protection order for the firearm, and he was taken into custody and taken to the main jail. What I do want to highlight, and I know you guys saw the text I sent out to the commission, reference our 4th of July. I'm very proud when we have these holidays, and you all see what goes on throughout the country, even other cities in Broward County. when we have very successful holiday weekends here in Dania Beach, and we continue to have successful holiday weekends because of the planning that goes on with myself, the city manager, the commission, when we get our law enforcement presence together at our operational plans, they've been very successful. And again, this was another very successful holiday weekend. 0 issues on our beach, 0 issues at Dania Point. And once Hollywood fireworks show was over, we were able to push all that traffic through our city, working with Hollywood, and we got them out of our city probably within 20, 25 minutes. We got them all out. There was 0 complaints of any traffic issues from our residents. And again, it was a very successful 4th of July weekend for us in the city. And last but not least, I just wanted to highlight something. I got a call from Commissioner Ryan a couple weeks ago, reference our Jewish institutions. What's going on, obviously, everyone knows in the Middle East what's going on. We have a lot of Jewish institutions in Dania Beach. And I get called a lot from the rabbis. I get emails a lot from the rabbis. Just so everyone here knows that we do area checks at every single one of our Jewish institutions, from the east side of the city to the west side of the city, every day, at least 2 area checks. Every single day, our deputies do area checks at every single institution, make contact with the rabbis, the parishioners, the students if they go to the daycares there. So we're out there every single day on top of everything else we're doing in the city. That is something that we do every single day. So I want to answer that question for you too, to let you know if you guys get called on that. And that will complete my report.
Thank you, Captain. Absolutely. Go ahead, City Manager.
You know, as you know, we also have the Holocaust museums. And kudos to you, because during a very challenging time, and there's still a lot of worry, but they are very pleased with the work that you're doing. And I just wanted to convey that to the commission. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, City Manager, and thank you for all you've done. It's not an easy job, especially on all these holidays, what we have going on in Dania Point, on the beach, everywhere. You guys are out there, even all the behind-the-scenes things that you do. Your work is so greatly appreciated, and I believe we have never been safer. So thank you so much, Captain Tarala. Thank you for all you do.
Yes.
And up next, we have a neighbor of Commissioner Coleri here. Come on. You're the neighbor. Come on, Chief. We have our very own BSO Chief Pelliser. Chief.
I thought you were calling my neighbor there for a second. Good evening, Mayor. Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, City staff, and the great citizens of Dania Beach. So during the month of June, our units ran 686 calls for service. 89 of those calls were fire-related incidents, and 597 were medical-related calls. Our fire inspectors completed 394 total inspections, so we're at 75% complete for this fiscal year. Over the last 2 weeks, we partnered up with the Dan Marino Foundation and our life safety educator, provided a class in cooking safety. So they were very happy with that. I want to tell you about our EMS captain. Our EMS captain, which is a unit that comes out of Fire Station 17. They have added new technology. As you already know, this technology and the EMS captain assists the crews on the scenes of very bad accidents. The technology, as you already know, they have the whole blood, which they've been carrying now for a few years. And now we have just added a Hamilton T1 ventilator. So that what that does is help somebody who's having respiratory distress, helps them with their ventilations and breathing. And also we added a Butterfly IQ, an ultrasound machine. So these tools ensure that we ensure faster, more accurate interventions in the field. It helps our paramedics be able to help somebody that's visiting Dania Beach, or one of our residents or one of our loved ones, be able to help them out and get them to the hospital and have a better diagnosis when we get there and turn the patient over to the emergency room staff. And lastly, Safety Saturday. You started that, and guess what? We're doing another one this Saturday.
Yeah, I'm
And we have the most signups. Yeah, we're at 17 as of like 5 minutes ago. Somebody signed up at like 5 minutes ago. So we're at 17. That's the most we've had. So I'm proud that we continue to do Safety Saturdays. And I want to thank Anthony for setting all the stuff up with our life safety educator and making sure that everybody gets registered. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. You know I love Safety Saturdays, and I just, I believe in it because it's such good information, and I think if you just keep on with that recruiting, and Anthony's no better person to email all the people and keep in contact, you really do have a great thing going. So thank you for that. Don't stop, and we will keep we will keep Safety Saturdays going. I am ready for vacation.
Enjoy your vacations.
I'm trying my best to get through it. All right, thank you, Chief. All right, next up we have the citizens' comments. Do I have any citizens' comments out there? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda?
Mayor, before anybody tries to pull, do you mind if I read the statement related to the tentative public ad valorem tax script?
Please.
This announcement is for tonight's budget hearing for the city of Dania Beach, Florida for fiscal year 2025 through 2026. The proposed operating municipal millage rate will be 5.9998 mils, which reflects no change from the city's current fiscal year millage rate. This operating millage rate represents a 6.03 increase over the rolled back rate of 5.6588 mils as computed in accordance with section 200.0651 of the Florida statutes. The voter approved debt service millage rate is 0.0985 mils in accordance with Chapter 200 of the Florida statutes. The city's aggregate millage rate is 6.0983 mils, which is 5.9998 mils for operating and 0.0985 for debt service. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting that information. Eve, Vice Mayor, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent agenda, item .8.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you, Commission. Item 9, we have bids and requests for proposals. Item 9.1, if you could please, Eve, if you could please read item 9.1.
Yes, ma'am. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach authorizing the proper city officials to approve professional engineering design, bidding assistance, and limited construction services to be provided by Kimberly Horn and Associates for the Southwest 29th Terrace and PJ Mealy Drainage Improvement Project in the amount of $266,275, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a public services item.
Hello, Sean.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Attorney. Public Services is looking for approval of this RFP for a very important drainage improvement project in the Mealy Park neighborhood. We previously did a design in that neighborhood. However, based upon our consultant's recommendation, they did not want us to implement that construction project until we had a larger receptive discharge pipe. So we've coordinated with our consultant to design a larger discharge pipe. And that's going to provide permitting, design, topography, construction, and bidding services as well. And it's also going to take that initial project and break it up into multiple phases so that we'd be able to spread the cost of those other improvements over time. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean Shutton. Did I say
Got
it
it right. Thank you, Mayor. That's correct.
It is. Say that a couple of times tonight. All right. Thank you so much. Do we have Vice Mayor?
Is this going to make a motion to pass this item?
Yes, you can make a
9.1?
motion. Have a motion from the Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
A second.
Have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The item 9.1 passes unanimously. Thank you, Sean. Hold on one second. We have a comment from the city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make an announcement while we have Sean here. So Sean has been doing a great job, as you know, as our Deputy Director of Public Services and also our city engineer. So he is a professional engineer certified in the state of Wisconsin, the great state of North Carolina, and just this week, he is now as an engineer in the great state of Florida as well. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Madam
Thank you
Mayor.
very much.
And he's great to do videos with. Thank you, Sean.
So are you.
Very talented man all the way around. We appreciate you having you on the team. All right, we're going to move on to item 9.2. Eve, if you could please read item 9.2.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing professional engineering design, bidding assistance, and limited construction services to be provided by Kimley Horn and Associates for the Southwest 34th Court Stormwater Improvement Project, which services shall not exceed the amount of $114,395, providing for conflicts and effective date, also a public services item.
Thank you very much again. Of course, this is another very important drainage improvement project for our city. This is located between Anglers and 30th Avenue, just south of I-595, and it's a very vulnerable area. It would be installing 2 new outfalls. One currently is in poor condition and doesn't provide any drainage, and the other one would be newly implemented to help alleviate the stormwater in that area. And Public Service is looking for approval of this RFP.
Thank you, Sean. Vice Mayor.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make an approval of 9.2.
Have a motion from Vice Mayor Salvino. Do I have a second? No, I don't.
I was laughing for.
Yes, you do. Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item 9.2 passes unanimously. Thank you, Sean. 2 for 2. And Commission. We will move on to item 10, quasi-judicial and public hearings. Eve, if you could please read item 10.1.
If you don't mind, Mayor, before I do, I'm going to swear in anyone who has to testify on the quasi-judicial and public hearing items. So anyone who's going from the public and staff that is going to be testifying, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. I will be asking as each item comes forward for any disclosures you may have had with any of the applicants or the community at large so that we have a clear record. Item number 10.1 is a resolution of the City Commission approving the variance request to waive the sidewalk installation requirement of Section 22-27 of the city's code submitted by the applicant property owner SGM Development, Inc. for the address at 3951 Ravenswood Road and providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a community development item. And before the presentation is done, can you please give me your disclosures, if there are any, by the Mayor and Commission? And seeing none, thank you.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Viviana Batista, Planning and Zoning Manager, and tonight before you, thank you. It's the application for the variance for the property located at 3951 Ravenswood Road for Outboard Dynamics. The property, it's the existing zoning of the property. It's an industrial research office, marine airport approach. The future land use is industrial. It's a 1.56 acres property. The existing use is warehouses. It used to be vacant, and there are no violations on the property. For a better understanding on the location, the property is south of Southwest 39th Street and is between Southwest 22nd Avenue and east of Anglers Avenue. It is surrounded by industrial districts, and it's on the west boundary, it's on a dead-end street. To the west of the property, it's a vacant land. The property, as I previously mentioned, it was vacant for some time, for actually 20 years. And on November of 2019, the property received an approval from City Commission for a development of 3 warehouses for a total of 13,533 square feet for service and repair. The area to the west planned originally to provide sidewalks, but to meet the requirements from Broward County Surface Water Department, that area needs to be dedicated for drainage purposes. This is the existing condition of the site with the view from Southwest 22nd Avenue. As you can see at the end, it's just a dead end. And the request before you tonight, the code requires them to provide a 5-foot wide sidewalk, and it's to waive that requirement, again, to meet the requirements from Broward County for drainage purposes. The applicant provided justification statement, and it was provided within the packet. And this is a better understanding of the location of the sidewalk that is not to be provided. And these applications supports the comprehensive plan by encouraging development, continuing to improve community appearance, and to support Florida Water Management Division in regards to drainage. The applicant sent out notices for community outreach efforts on October 16, 2024, and we did not receive any objections of this request. The recommendation tonight is to support these approval. Public Services was in approval of this request as well, and Community Development is recommending approval of this variance. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Great job, thank you. Vice Mayor?
I have a question. So did he have to pay for the variance, or the company have to pay for a variance?
Yes.
Okay, so the county's asking you not to put it in because they want sidewalks, but we're asking them to get a variance and pay for a variance to accommodate the county.
No, actually, when they came for the site plan, we required the sidewalks, and they provided the sidewalks on the site plan. But when they went to the county for the drainage approval, the drawings didn't reflect the sidewalks. So technically, the county never got to see the sidewalks.
Okay, so the sidewalks were on the plans, but the county didn't see it. But the county's letting them know that he can't put sidewalks in.
Correct, because they're for
I understand
purposes of
that. I mean,
drainage.
I'm surprised, but I'm just confused on the process because, I mean, if he can't put sidewalks in, why do we have to have a variance? Why can't you just say no?
Because the code requires them for them to complete the project, because they're about to receive their CO.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all. Okay, thank you. It still doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
Any other questions? Comments? All right. Commissioner Llewellyn?
I was just going to make a motion to approve. Oh, do we need a public hearing?
This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none. Now we have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn. Do we have a
motion to approve 10.1?
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Romoli. All in favor say aye. All right, item 10.1 passes unanimously.
Mayor, do you mind?
Oh, sure,
just wanna
please.
clarify a few things.
Absolutely.
Vice
Eleanor?
Mayor, so he's a little more comfortable with that approval. The county's request to not put it in for the storm drainage is our justification for our variance request. The code requires sidewalks, so we have to have a variance to issue the CO to allow it to continue development. But the justification would be the county. That's why we would say, okay.
I got that.
Okay.
I realize that, and I know that you're doing it to accommodate.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I realize that the process that it's a part of the code, they have to go ahead and put the sidewalk in. I understand all that. It's just that it seems a little awkward. If I was a property owner and I had to go and follow the code, I would put the sidewalk in because I wouldn't ask for variance because it's part of the code. You're not going to get it passed. The point of it is that if they have to apply for a variance, when the county's telling them they can't put it in, then they have to pay, $2,000 or more for a variance. It just seems like that's a little abusive to the property owner to have to pay that when the county's the one that's requiring them not to put it in, even though they're breaking the code that we've established in the county. See my point?
Yeah. There's sometimes the counties and the city codes don't align just right, and they're requesting that they don't install the sidewalk. So our code would require them to require the sidewalk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. And we will move on to item 10.2. Eve, if you could please read item 10.2.
A resolution of the City Commission pursuant to the criteria of Section 630-50 Special Exception Use Development Standards to approve the applicant's request for a special exception to allow outdoor dining associated with an existing restaurant submitted by the applicant 2750 Griffin Living LLP for the property located at 2750 Griffin Road, Dania Beach, Florida, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a community development item. Are there any disclosures on this item? Seeing none.
Good evening. Again, Viviana Batista, Planning and Zoning Manager. And the item before you tonight is the special exception for the property located at 2750 Griffin Road. The property is located in the PRD1 district, the Planned Residential Development District, and the land use designation is commercial. The property is at 1.79 acres, is a mixed use, and residential and commercial uses are happening. The property is located south of Griffin Road, and this is the actual appearance of the property. So Code Section 110-200 permits outdoor restaurant seating without the special exception if it's an accessory use to an indoor restaurant, which is the case, and not adjacent to any residential uses. The request tonight is for 16 bar stools at the bar window fronting Griffin Road. The applicant has provided their justification, which was also included in the packets, and the staff analysis criterion is as well included. The property received approval from City Commission on August 2020 for the approval of 79 dwelling units and 16,000 square feet of commercial space. As well as the parking calculations, they demonstrate sufficient parking from the Land Development Code requirements previously approved for the parking access for these uses proposed. The calculations identify 22 excess parking spaces available for off-site parking, and they're also available at the Dollar Tree, which is less than 500 feet in distance. This is a rendering of the proposed outdoor seating, which is 16 stools at the bar outside. And these are the existing conditions of the proposed area. This application furthers the city's future land use and encouraging development, commercial office employment center, and permitted uses that are aligned with the comprehensive plan. And the applicant conducted community outreach on June 3rd at the PJ Milley Community Center. We had 18 residents attending, and they had some concerns about traffic and parking. So staff requested from the applicant to provide signage, wayfindings, so the people that attend the restaurant will be able to find the extra parking at the Dollar Tree Plaza. And the requested special exception meets the special exception criteria. So the community development staff is recommending approval for this request, provided that the signage is posted and identifying the location of the additional parking. And the applicant is here, and I'm available as well if you have any questions.
Fantastic report again. And this is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item, or you're going to do your thing? Go ahead, Rod.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For the record, Rod Feiner. I'm an attorney with Coker and Feiner, 1404 South Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, 33316. For the owner and applicant, with me today is Tweet Turner. The owner extends his apologies for not coming. He's in the process of doing a project in Lakeland that he promised his tenants they would have COs by the end of this week, and so he's rushing to get through that. Otherwise, he would be here. I had a presentation, but honestly, your staff did such a thorough evaluation of this and such a thorough presentation, demonstrating where the outdoor dining area is, which is really small, adjacent to Griffin Road, where it's not going to cause any impacts on anyone, that I have nothing to add except to answer any questions you may have.
I just do know that this has been a problem area with the parking and affecting the neighbors and the neighborhoods within this area. And so I just want you to be able to address how this is not going to further impact that neighborhood?
So, sure. So let me say this. When we applied for building permits for the restaurant, we included the outdoor dining area in the parking calculations. So even though you said, and staff has shown how we meet the code for the parking for this outdoor dining area, we've always contemplated that it would meet that, so we accommodated the parking that would be required in this from the beginning. In addition, as staff's request and is required by code, we put signage directing people where to go and where to park. And one of the things we've noticed since we had that public meeting about a month ago, it seems to us that some of the parking and some of the traffic issues seems to be developed by some of the residents who are requesting Uber Eats or requesting Uber pickups from ride shares, and they're missing the turn on 28th, and so they're going on to 27th. That's very interesting because FDOT, if you'll recall, when we got this project originally approved, was very adamant that we make no improvements at 27th whatsoever. They'd like that driveway to eventually be eliminated from Griffin Road, as a matter of fact. So they were very adamant about that. But what we've done is we've started educating our tenants and posting things with our tenants and everything about where Uber Eats are to turn in, where ride shares are to turn in, so they're not turning on 27th, because 27th, if you'll notice, our parking lot doesn't have ingress or egress from 27th. That was designed on purposely. So this is, we think, an educational issue for the residents and for the businesses telling people where to do that. And we as the landlord are already doing that and instructing all our residents about that.
And you've seen some significant improvements.
We have seen
since
some
you started
improvements. And
doing
additionally, you know, unfortunately, poor timing, there was an event for a religious holiday that occurred at one of the other structures unrelated to this whatsoever, which caused overflow parking for that one very popular attended event. It was a once a year thing that occurred. It won't be occurring in the future, but that then caused a bunch of comments. So it was just bad timing, but it is what it is. I can't control the Jewish calendar holiday.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Hold on, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, you know, as I think our city progresses, and I know there was some issue with the parking out there back when, well, about a month ago, you know, that was a one-time event, and we haven't really heard of any other complaints at that point. I do know that the property owner is making every attempt to accommodate the amount of parking spaces that are necessary to do that. I think one thing that our city is going to become accustomed to is that we are looking for outdoor seating through our city, and I think that you're going to find that more. It's going to happen in other places, and this is going to come up over and over and over. So I think, you know, in favor of what we're trying to establish in our city to, you know, have that type of atmosphere, you know, I think it's a good idea. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't work, things can change. But I think at this point, I'm in favor of seeing how it works out. I hope I know the landlords will make sure that that the tenants will follow suit and try to do the things you're talking about. So, because you know who takes those complaints, don't you?
We do, sir.
Okay, and we can make some changes. We get too many complaints, so keep that in mind as well.
Understood.
Okay, so at that point, if there's nobody else, I make a motion that we pass 10.2.
The mayor stepped out for a minute, so although the vice mayor is running the meeting, I'm just going to run this little dais thing here, and I believe Commissioner Ryan would like to speak, if that's okay, Vice Mayor? One second, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure, okay.
I just had one question. When you showed the signs that the city requested, one sign's obviously at the cantina or whatever it is, Griffin Living, right? And then another sign is at Dollar Tree, saying,
Correct.
Go park at Dollar Tree 3 blocks down.
So what happens is you come into the site, you rotate around, and before you make the exit out, there's a sign there that says additional parking at Dollar Tree. So it's very visible to the customers if they couldn't find the parking spot in the parking facility. It tells them exactly where to go and where to go.
And that was the city's only request?
That was.
Okay.
And by the way, required by code, we were, in all honesty, I will tell you, we were a tad delinquent in posting that. You know, mea culpa, I'll fall on the sword on that one.
Well, that's fine. With that, I'll second the motion, and then we can have discussion with Commissioner.
Okay, 1 second. Can we recognize Commissioner Romoli?
Thank you, Rob.
Wow, hi.
Thank you. So that area right now is being utilized currently, correct?
No, it is not.
It's not being used.
No,
So people aren't standing there.
It was, and it was shut down. It's not, there's no service going through. There's as you saw in the picture, there's a metal, I don't know.
So I
Shutter,
must be seeing things, because I thought I drove by there and there were actual people standing out there.
they might have been standing there waiting to be seated in the restaurant, but it is not being used as a outdoor dining area
Because I guess
right
my
now.
point was going to be, if there's already people utilizing it, it's not going to really increase the number of cars.
Right.
Because now they just have a place to sit.
They're probably waiting there to get into the restaurant is where they're going, but there's no actual dining or drinking going on there
Thanks
right
for
now.
clarification. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, if I can recognize Commissioner Lori Llewellyn, just give me 1 second.
You'd rather not, you said. Please.
Please, yes, you can recognize me.
Thank you. So actually, since I live over there were people standing there at one point, and that shutter was open for a period of time when the
Correct.
restaurant first opened.
Correct, when it first
I
opened.
do know that more recently, and I presume it's because of this, that shutter has been shut.
Well, yes, and with all, kudos to the city. The city said you need a special exception for that. They issued a code citation for that, and they shut it immediately. The owner says he didn't know we needed a special exception approval. As soon as he found out, it got shuttered, and we applied.
Right, because I have not seen anybody there. It's been probably a month or more. So, and I wondered what was going on. Now I know. So, okay, so that explains that, and at least they complied until this has been addressed here. That's fine. So we have a motion and a second. Mayor.
Thank you, but this is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Ms. Jennifer Stewart, please come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure, and I'll just tell you, this isn't a comfortable place for me to be.
Can you put the mic down?
This isn't a comfortable place for me to be. I don't have faith that this solution for parking at the Dollar Tree is going to be sustainable. It's not an easy turnaround. I know at the public hearing, Mr. Feiner said there was going to be a shuttle taking traffic back and forth. And I fear that we're going to get through this public hearing for this zoning ordinance, the one in August, and then we're going to see trouble on the street again. It hasn't been a problem lately. I can tell you my neighbors have been on the street encouraging people to move their cars, and that's part of the problem, is that we're policing our street. It has gotten better, I'll admit that, but I don't think there is enough parking for what is going on there, especially with a second restaurant coming into that facility that's only going to expand the traffic. And until there is a solution for more parking, I'm not comfortable. I'm not upset with this ordinance. I don't think it's going to affect it. But I think with the one, as this project expands, I just ask you to consider the residents on the street and the parking issues. And the traffic hasn't gotten better. And I have photos of Ubers and Amazon vans on Griffin Road, right in front of the building, just a couple of days ago. So it's still happening.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. If you could, for the record, we need you to have your name, full name and address on the record.
Jennifer Stewart, 4891 Southwest 28th Avenue.
And thank you for your comments. Hold on one second, Vice Mayor. Oh, go ahead.
You can stay if you want, but addressing Mr. Feiner and as well with this, she's making a point. Listen, we all want the restaurants there, and I support Griffin Living, as you well know, and I support everything that's going on. I just wanted to make sure, because it's not going to be good for the tenants, it's not going to be good for the customers, because if we start getting phone calls that there's parking up and down the streets, I'm going to address our Broward Sheriff's Office to be standby and write tickets all day long. And that's not going to be good for those people, and I don't want to come back to us, because we're going to pass this. I can see that, and I know that if it doesn't, and it gets pushed out, because the restaurants are busy, and I know they're busy, and I like that they're busy, but when you count how many parking spots are supposed to be for a restaurant, and you exceed that because you're so popular, the cars have got to go somewhere. So I suggest to your landlords, which I will as well, that maybe he needs to get a shuttle service because certain restaurants require that are very popular. And I'm sure he can figure it out because I want those restaurants to be packed with people. I want them in our community, but I don't want the residents affected. So,
And sir, I hear you loud and clear. I agree with you. We've posted, and what we're doing is we're telling people when they come in, make sure you haven't parked on these two streets. There's a space over there. So besides the signs in the restaurant, we're also having the restaurant staff tell people that. I will say I did see a picture of what Ms. Stewart is talking about with an Amazon driver who was, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I'm just going to call it as I see it, lazy, and who parked on Griffin Road, which is completely illegal. It's not like there's public parking spaces or anything else there. Unfortunately, I can't control what the Amazonizers, nor can my client control what the Amazon drivers do. However, I would heartily encourage direct BSO to come down. The BSO, I'm sure the Amazon drivers and Amazon can afford the tickets and they won't do it after that.
I think that what will happen is you're going to have certain small incidents, and that's something that I think everybody can accept. But if it becomes a consistent problem, and at night there's over 30 cars parked down the street, that's where we're going to.
We hear you loud and
I just
clear.
want you to be aware that we will stand up for that with BSO if something goes wrong, and I'm just letting you know that let Ms. Turner and crew to know that.
Yep, we hear you loud and clear, and
Okay.
that will be relayed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finer. Thank you, Jennifer, for your concerns. And I do think that we are going to be vigilant in making sure that we keep an eye on that project. All right, we have a motion and a second. Oh, hold on. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yes, thank you. Is there, because I have also seen, not just Amazon, but I have seen other vehicles stop in front of that restaurant on Griffin Road. Is there something we can put there, like a no stopping or standing or something like that? Some sort of a sign there that keeps people from doing that?
Through the mayor, just recently, Candio and I did a drive-through around that area, and we've done it at various times of the days to address some of the concerns of the neighbors, including Mrs. Stewart that was here. But we have seen a tremendous improvement, and like Mr. Finer said, and Tweez over there, and we have a great relationship also with Mr. Sharabi. He wants to make sure that this is successful, but not at the cost to disrupting the quality of life, which is a priority for us, for all of you. So we are keeping a close eye. We have 101 sworn police officers and a great code team. Remember, we were the one that noticed the actual window being up, and that's why they closed it, and they're here in compliance, and they're a really good partner. So we're definitely going to keep our fingers on the pulse.
What I'm saying is would that be something that we would have to do, or FDOT would have to do, or that they would have to do? Could we just put a sign, a simple sign that just says no stopping or standing?
We could certainly put signs. We don't want to fill the city with signs, but there are times that signage is needed. So we'll do an assessment, and whatever we need to do to install signage to mitigate or eliminate this challenge, we'll certainly do it, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you.
Pleasure.
That was a good suggestion. Chief, if we just see anybody out in that area, just to make sure that we can cite them and keep an eye, on that area so that we can make sure that it's protected. Thank you so much. All right. Do we need to go ahead and take this to a vote?
I just want to make sure, can you open the public hearing? Or did we?
We opened it, so we need to close it. So public hearing is now closed. City Clerk, if you could take it to a vote, please.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramoli?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy your well-earned vacation.
Thank you, sir. We can't get to it fast enough. All right. Next up, we have item 10.3. Eve, if you could please read item 10.3.
A resolution of the City Commission approving the site plan modification and variance applications to modify the landscaping requirement and approve electric vehicle charging spaces on the property submitted by the applicant Tesla Inc. for 2061 through 2081 Griffin Road, providing for conflicts and effective date. This is a community development item, and are there any disclosures of the elected officials? Seeing none.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Viviana Batista, Planning and Zoning Manager, 3 in a row today. This application before you is for the property located at 2081 Griffin Road, and it's for a site plan modification and a variance request. This property is located in the Industrial Research Office Marine. The future land use is industrial. It has an overlay district, which is the hotel overlay, and the site acreage is at 8.14 acres. The existing use is a hotel and a fast food restaurant, and there are no open violations. The property is located east of I-95, north of Griffin Road, and west of I-95 and east of Ravenswood Road. My apologies. The site plan modification is to convert 60 existing parking spaces to 54 electric vehicle charging spaces. So the background on the property, it was previously an outdoor storage for boats, vehicles, and trailers. Then the property received an approval for 2 hotels and 1 office, and also converted into a hotel overlay in 2009. And the site received a site plan modification for the construction of a Wendy's fast food restaurant in January 2016. These are the current conditions of the property. And the variance request before you tonight is the code requires a 10-foot perimeter landscape buffer, and they are requesting to allow 6 feet 8 inches perimeter landscape buffer. Sorry, it was a fly distracting. The applicant provided justification, and what they're proposing is actually to install the switch gear as well as the chargers within the landscape buffer. That's why they're reducing the 10-foot setback to provide only 6 feet 8 inches. This is the proposed site plan. The location of the EV chargings are west of the building, the Fairfield Inn. And these are some renderings of how it's going to look like, the charging stations. They have also provided resiliency efforts, and they identified on their site plan modification 76.9% of the land being used as a pervious area, meeting the requirements of the code. And this application supports furthering the comprehensive plans of providing commercialized activities, encouraging development, and providing safe, convenient on-site traffic flow. The applicant decided not to do a public outreach due to political climate surrounding Tesla at the moment. And Community Development Department provided public hearing notices to all properties within 1,000 feet of the site. The item went before development review twice, and although they have some outstanding comments, they are conditions of approval that will be addressed before the permit issuance. As of now, the community development is recommending approval of both the variance and the site plan, provided that the remaining DRC comments are conditions of approval and must be addressed before the issuance of the building permit. The applicant is here, and if you have any questions, I'm available as well.
3 for 3, great job, great job. You've been rocking it tonight. Community development, great job. If the applicant would like to speak. No, I think they do such a great job that you just don't even need to, you don't even need to chime in. You just let them keep the good job rolling. Thank you so much. This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, do I have, public hearing is closed. All right, we're rocking and rolling now. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, Mayor, and pass the item.
Have a motion from Vice Mayor. Do I have a second? We're switching. No, she changed it.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, item 10.3 passes. We will move on to item 11, first reading ordinances. There are none. And we will move on to item 12, second reading ordinances. We have item 12.1. Eve, if you could please read item 12.1.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending the city's public art fee imposed on developments by amending Chapter 28 Land Development Code at Section 81150 Application Procedures for Placement of Art on Private Property at Section 81170 Building Permits, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and effective date. And this is a community development item.
All right, community development.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner Eleanor Norina, Community Development Department. This is second reading. I'm here if you have any questions. There was a presentation given at the last meeting.
No questions. Vice Mayor?
Is it a public hearing?
This is a public hearing. And do I have anyone to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Vice Mayor?
I make a motion to pass item 12.1.
I have a motion from the Vice Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ramoli. All in favor say aye. All right. Item 12.1 passes unanimously. We will move on. Oh, you said nay. I'm sorry. Commissioner Ryan said nay on that one. Item 12.1. All right, item 13, we have discussion and possible action. Item 13.1, we need a voting delegate from to attend the Florida League of Cities annual conference. It was my understanding that the mayor has attended twice in the past, and that it usually is the mayor that's the delegate. So I would like to be the delegate if no one has any objections.
Consensus?
Do I have consensus to be the delegate for the Florida League of Cities? All right, thank you. I will be the delegate. Thank you, Commission. I do appreciate that. Next, we have item 13.2. This is a request to attend the Southeast Florida's Climate Summit, Leadership Summit, and discussion and sponsorship. We did hear from Dr. Gerardo tonight about the importance of this event. 2 years ago, I believe I sponsored this event. But I believe the staff went, Eleanor and Corinne, it's a wonderful conference. I just wanted to discuss with the commission, because I always like for Dania Beach to have logo, to show that our city is in the lead, or our city is one of the leaders of the climate and resilience programs. And so I just wanted to I wanted to see if you guys wanted to do a bronze. Really, I think a bronze sponsorship would be the most, that we have our logo on the signage, our logo in a booklet. I believe we get a small ad and a table booklet. Anything more than that, unless you guys want a table. And then I wanted to know if you guys wanted to have a table, wanted to have our presence there, if we wanted to dedicate staff to that, and that would be up to the city manager. But the last time we didn't have a table, but we still had a presence and we still had the logo. So I am seeking consensus to be a bronze sponsor for the Climate Leadership Summit, $2,500, and from the commission contingency. So we will have our presence, and I would encourage you all to go, because you have a lot of great networking, and those subject matter experts there are invaluable. They come from Monroe, Broward, West Palm Beach, and all over the world, actually Japan the last time. All right, so we will move on to item 13.3, which is the appointments for the Airport Noise Abatement Committee from the city clerk.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just brought this up just to see if anybody has any appointments. We do have one person who is interested in serving. Her name is Charlene Tanner. So if you are interested in appointing her to one of the noise sites, then we can take it at that time, but yes.
Hold on. Commissioner Ramon.
I believe I sent you an email. No, you didn't receive that?
I did not.
Okay,
Do
that's
you have
like,
somebody?
No, that I would go ahead and
that you,
approve
yes,
her.
yes.
Yes.
I just want to get consensus that everybody's okay with the
I just wanna
appointment.
make sure, yeah.
I just want to bring it forward so you can, at the dais, appoint her.
Perfect.
Yes,
Okay, so yes.
Okay, perfect. So then, do you have a specific noise site that you would want to appoint her to? Because she's not in any of this actual areas, so I guess it's at your discretion.
Hold on one second, Elora, Commissioner Llewellyn.
I have a suggestion for that. I think one of the sites is on the east side, and I believe she lives on the east side. So that would make more sense because the issues there are completely different from the west side issues.
Okay,
So I would just suggest that. Yeah.
So so the addresses are 4548 Southwest 37th. There's 4609 Southwest 28th, which is Commissioner Llewellyn, so never mind. There's 805B Northwest 13th Avenue and 325 Northeast 3rd Avenue.
The northeast.
Northeast 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be noise site 5 that I will appoint her to.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
And I can also tell you, I've asked several people that used to be involved in this, and no one's really interested. So,
I mean, we can only do what we can, so I will let the member on this committee know that we have 2 so far, and if we get any more, then we'll send them their way.
I'll keep asking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Elora. Next, we have item 3.4. Eve, if you could please read item 3.4.
Yes, Mayor. Just note that there is an amended resolution on the dais. There's a small correction to the resolution to provide a $250 stipend to the artists that are narrowed down. It's a resolution of the City Commission authorizing the creation of a short list of artists from the Creative Vision Call to Artists, providing for conflicts and an effective date, and it is a community development item. So if you approve the amended resolution, it would be a resolution as amended. Thank you.
Thank you, Eve. Eleanor?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners, City Manager. So this is phase 1 of our call to artists. It was the Creative Vision call, and this is to shortlist the artist responses so that we can get some more detailed responses to present to the Commission. So on February 1st, the city published the call to artists, Creative Visions. The goal was to welcome applications from a wide range of creative professionals. We're looking to utilize accessible outdoor public spaces and Dana Beach's natural environment. Really, the location is all of City of Dana Beach. It's the canvas. We want to encourage public art out west and other locations. We have a high density of public art here in City Hall, the City Center, and at the beach. We'd like to see it throughout the city. So that's the goal with this call to artists. So the city was very successful, received 30 responses from 30 different artists. Here's some examples of some of their previous work. On April 20th, we received the responses, and the Public Art Board on May 19th reviewed all 30 responses and qualifications, and they're proposing to recommend following 8 artists to develop a more detailed proposal that can be presented. That detailed proposal will have a location and a specific art. These are the 8 artists: Xavier Cortada, Sonata, I'm going to say K because I can't pronounce her last name, Soon-Hin Lim, Russell Mason, Nat Moeller, OSRS Murals, Timothy Robert, and Jason Telak. So we are going to, if approved, request these 8 artists to provide us a detailed proposal by August 1st. That gives them, August 15th. It's about 30 days from if this gets approved to prepare this proposal. The board is going to recommend, they're going to rank all 8 proposals. We'll present all 8 to you, but they're going to give recommendations for their top 3, which we'd like to see implemented this year. We do have a budget, which you guys are all aware of, and each piece in this call is not to exceed $50,000. So we're anticipating to implement at least 3 projects within this year. And like I said, or like the city attorney said, we would be paying these 8 artists a stipend. It's $250 to prepare this proposal, which we've done in the past for the call to artists on the garage mural. When we selected Ernesto, we had artists prepare detailed proposals. So the total funding request is $2,000, and it would come from the Public Art Advisory Fund. Like I said, staff will present all 8 proposals to you, but we will give the board recommendation of our top 3. And I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor, for that wonderful presentation. Commissioner Ryan?
Thanks, Eleanor. Yeah, I just have a comment. When I went over this with staff, I requested all 30, and I actually went through them. It took a while. It was like 95 pages. But
they do a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the art thing, right? But I do agree with the Art Advisory Board's selections. I think they're great. You know, it's always in the eye of the beholder, but I'm strongly stand behind it, and I think you guys did a wonderful job at narrowing down to those 8 artists. Look forward to the final 3 that come up.
Thank you. We do have a great board. They're very diverse. They're very educated. They care about the calls that they put out, and they really are invested in this board. I'm very happy with the board and all the members. So thank you for acknowledging that, Commissioner.
Yes, thank you for those kind words. It is a lot of work that they do, and so I want people to know it's just not, you know, they come up with award-winning murals out of their hat. I mean, it's a lot of work that goes into it, so thank you for what you do, and thank you for your comments. Commissioner Llewellyn.
So do we need a motion? Okay. I'll make
Yes, please. A motion
to
to approve the amended resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended resolution.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from the Vice Mayor. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, item 13.4 passes unanimously. Thank you, Commission. We will move on to item 13.5. Eve, if you could please read item 13.5.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission pertaining to Resolution 2024-79, which modified Resolution 2885, it must be 2485, I apologize, and prescribes rules of procedure for City Commission meetings, amending the rules to limit the number of presentations requested by elected officials to 2 per meeting with no time limit, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Davis, and as the title says, it's basically right now you're allowed 1 presentation per elected official per meeting without having to get consent for any extensions. And it's limited to 7 minutes. The mayor would like to change it to 2 presentations per meeting with no time limit.
All right, and I will just give a little background about where this came about. I am committed to upholding the rules and procedures that govern our commission meetings. I have been noticing the past few meetings that we've had. Last week, we had the privilege of having Broward County property appraiser Marty Kerr here. His presentation was 22 minutes. And he could not talk any faster than he does. He is amazing, and he gives a fantastic presentation, and we needed to hear every word. In fact, I had so many residents coming up to me and saying what amazing information that Marty gave, the programs that they didn't know existed, but it was a 22-minute project that was equal to 2 presentations and a little bit more. Prior to that, Commissioner Ryan had Director Todd Stouty, who came from the Solid Waste Authority. Another phenomenal, very well needed presentation, but that one presentation was 19 minutes and 57 seconds, which is way above and beyond the 7-minute mark. Every single word was very well received, and I think he even had more that he wanted to give, but because we had that 7-minute limitation, we weren't able to hear the report in full. There was time conflicts. I had one today with Dr. Gerardo and Dr. Anderson. I wanted Dr. Gerardo to come on the 27th, and she could only come on the 8th, so I needed to have 2 presentations. The same thing with Commissioner Ryan when he needed to have 2 presentations because of scheduling conflicts. So his second person, Mr. Luck, came and did a presentation. So that second presentation was 14 minutes and 45 seconds. And so together, those 2 presentations were, way over the 7-minute limit that is now in the policy. So I am bringing this up because these are not frivolous or unimportant discussions. They offered valuable insights, information to the commission and to our residents. I received positive feedback, as I said, from several members of the public on all of these presentations. I believe the Resiliency Project, the presentation that was given tonight, as well as the Community Foundation presentation, was valuable information before we go on to the summer break with our before our budget meetings commence. That said, this issue is not about the content of these presentations, but how we manage them within the governance framework, where when the 7-minute rule is repeatedly not followed, it places those of us who try to adhere to it in difficult and unequal position. As mayor, I feel that I'm obligated to lead by example and to follow the rules. I'm a rule follower. I like to follow the rules. And so, however, it becomes increasingly difficult to do so when the rules are inconsistently applied. So I need to, therefore, I'm in support of this resolution to amend the rules that limit the number of commissioner requested presentations based on real world circumstances. These presentations sometimes are going to go more than 7 minutes, and I don't want the bell going off on a Marty Care, or I don't want the bell going off on a Director Starty, and I don't want a bell going off on Dr. Gerardo. So I'm just asking that we can have our presentations in alignment with the city managers. And I still recommend that they have, I recommend 7 minutes, but I just don't feel that we should be limited to that, especially with the important content that we have. So, comment, Commissioner Llewellyn?
Yes, so I have a few things to say on this. And there's a reason why we did put that policy into place, and that was because for a period of time there, we were not getting to city business until well after 9 o'clock at night because of the number of presentations and the length of time they were each taking to do. I personally don't have an issue if more than one presentation is brought by an individual commissioner, so long as it's not more than 5. I mean, if each one of us has an opportunity, let's say, for example, like tonight, you had 2 presentations, not a big deal. There weren't any others that were requested by any of the other commission. The night, I believe, when you had the 2, there were no others that night, not a big deal. I think as long as we're mindful of the agenda and what's on it, that's not a big deal. And I don't really, if we want to just maybe say a maximum number of commission requested presentations, that might be a better way to do it, as opposed to saying 1 per individual. I wouldn't have a problem with that. As far as the time limit, though, we can't leave it open-ended. We just can't. And I have a solution for that I think everybody might be willing to compromise on. Once a month, we have a CRA meeting. The other meeting that month, we do not. So what about if we put aside, say, an hour at 6 o'clock, we have a window before that second meeting every month for workshops. And if there are interesting presentations that are going to take longer than 7 minutes, we set those up at that time. And then this way, because we're not voting on anything generally on these, it's more about hearing the information, asking questions, and getting the information. I mean, I could say myself, for one, there were lots of questions I wanted to ask about the solid waste stuff. We didn't have time. And that might have actually been better suited for a workshop. And if we just have like a standing workshop at 6 o'clock, the second meeting of the month, that leaves it open so that if we want to put a presentation that's going to take longer, that may actually end up with more questions, that might be the better place to put it. My concern with just leaving it open-ended is that we're going to go back to what we were doing before, and we won't be getting out of here until midnight minimum. So, and I had a lot of complaints from residents before. We actually lost several residents who used to come on a regular basis because we weren't getting to the actual meat of the meetings until after 9 o'clock, and it was just getting way too late for them. So, and I don't want to lose people coming and seeing and talking to us, asking questions, or even watching the meetings online. I'd rather have the participation that we encourage and that we were elected to do. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Romoli? I did press it. Hold on.
And thank you, Mayor. I think also maybe considering doing the city business first and having presentations last it's just a suggestion. Wow, that was a no fast. But I mean, if we're going to really trying to keep our residents here and engaged with city business, that might be an alternative to do that. But again, I agree. I don't want to leave it open-ended with just, I think when you ask someone to do a presentation, you should be prepared and ask them to keep it limited to a certain time frame so that it's respectful to really to everybody. And then we get the opportunity to ask questions if we need to. Consolidating a program into a reasonable amount of time, like 5, 7, 10 minutes, I think is doable, and then giving us an opportunity then to ask some questions afterwards. But that's...
No, I agree with that to an extent, because that's what I did. Both of my presenters, and I have it in an email that I asked them, I recommended that they keep their presentations to 7 minutes. However, the Commissioner Ryan's was 33. So if you're going to have 7 minutes, 1:33, then it's just not consistent, and I have an issue with the consistency. Let's, Vice Mayor.
Wow. Well, I don't agree with any of you. Seriously, I mean, the points, or some of these points are valid. I mean, what is our city commission primary objects to accomplish while we're here? And I think that is all the stuff that we do after presentations. And the fact that the presentations are more important to some people than they are other people. And some people, like earlier, the comments were that, people that sit here and we listen to an hour or whatever, or more or less presentations, by the time 9 o'clock gets around here, people don't want to be here, they get bored, they walk out, they get uninterested in the city. So you're losing interested residents late because you have people wanting to hear, our staff wants to hear, our commission wants to bring presentations in because they're passionate about it. So it's a catch-22 for the people that have up here. I think that, the compromise, we have to come to a compromise as a team. And I mean, I think the suggestions should come out, and then we should have the suggestion to vote on. My suggestion, I think if presentations are that important, should be limited to 2 per night, and they should be limited to 10 minutes each, or 1 for 20 minutes. We should submit to us that an order of how we're going to do it. And if we come in and 3 of them come in, and whoever brings them in, they go down and they get presented, every week, every other week we do our thing until we get down to it. You're going to have, you just can't, I mean, if you came up and wanted 2 presentations open-ended and he wants 2 open-ended, we could be here to 10 o'clock listening to presentations.
Well, no, I'm just saying, because then the city manager would
Well,
know,
but then
somebody would know who the request.
I know, but then they're judging, then they're stopping me if you put yours in, and him from putting ours in, because everybody's got a minute. Everybody wants them. Everybody's going to want it. If they have, well, don't tell me. I know. I've been up here too long to understand what happens. And what's going to happen is that we leave open-end times and we don't set a plan. Well, that's why it was 7 minutes, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't even mind extending the 7 minutes, because I agree with you that they can't get a full presentation out. But I think it's either 2 10-minute presentations per week or 1 20-minute presentation per week. First come, first serve, line up, take them in order. And that should be it, because we're not here to listen to the presentations to every week that somebody comes up, because every week you've got 2 or more.
No, I don't.
Well, most weeks.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I'm not going to.
This is my first
I won't. Okay, well, you have a presentation every week, okay? Usually, I know, but I'm the only one that doesn't have presentations. I'm here to do city business.
We take your
and
spot.
We can take some of these people that are important to us that, you brought out, and put it into our magazine, so the people that get it, now we're affecting every resident that we're getting to. Well, what's wrong with that?
No, I'm just.
Don't you laugh at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. I just know how coveted and how much care the city manager puts into the Pioneer. So I don't know that she wants all of our presentations in there.
Well, I don't want all of our presentations here every time we come here and sit here for an hour either. So it works with
I believe that there's some kind of compromise that needs to happen, but I just don't think that if you're going to say 7 minutes and then you're going to go 20 minutes, then that's just not. And then I'm going to then when the 7-minute mark comes, because I like to follow the rules, I'm going to say, all right, your 7 minutes is up. We need to be able to follow the rules. Okay. So, however we're going to be able to follow the rules, then that's what I want to be able. I want it to be reasonable for us to be able to actually follow through and not be like, oh my God, you cut my person off short. No, if If you want to have unlimited time, then, or if you want to have a time limit, then Elora presses the time. If it's 10 minutes, then at 10 minutes, I'm going to say you need to wrap it up, and I'm going to keep going with the rules. I just want it to be whatever is feasible and what we're going to be able to adhere to as a commission. Commissioner Ryan, enough for you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I appreciate this being on the agenda, and I think this is definitely a productive conversation, so I'm happy that we get to discuss this as a commission on the dais. Look, when it comes to these presentations, all right, I was, as being the former mayor, you do have certain powers as being the chair, and a lot of it is to your discretion, okay? So, look, if we have somebody proposing to do an adult kickball team, you know what I mean, they give a presentation, then yeah, that's a 7-minute presentation. But when you have the executive director of the Solid Waste Authority, or you have the property appraiser, the county property appraiser, you have the chief resiliency officer of the county, we all need to realize the context of that presentation. And, you know, the mayor, like, she recognized it today. You understand that they're going to have a longer presentation because they are very integral when it comes to our community. So when it comes with government updates from our CFO or from our property appraiser, that's very important information for the residents. You know, I know it can be boring to some, and I know the commission is very well versed on it, but you know, most of the residents have no idea. So I think it's very important, and I'm happy that we've actually brought in these presenters. I think it's made, given more substance to the meeting instead of taking away from it. So I like to leave it more at the mayor's discretion, all right? If we want to extend the time, we could extend it maybe to 12 minutes for a presentation, I understand, but a lot of it should be at your discretion, Mayor, honestly, and if somebody needs a little more time, you could give it to them. If you want to cut them off, I get you. But, and then if the commission wants to ask a couple more questions, because it's important to them, I'd say it's definitely the chair's discretion when it comes to those matters. I know, like you said, you don't like to break the rules or anything, and we certainly don't want the bell ringing on anyone, but these people, they live in this world, so they definitely understand. And I'd say Dania is a little easier to work with and give a presentation probably than other cities when it comes to that. I think we're pretty open as a commission. So when we leave it open-ended, as the commissioner said, and it's not always going to be maybe, you know, a joyous commission, you know, so you definitely don't want people jockeying and, oh, I have 2 people and my 2 are more important than yours and they're coming up here and you're cutting them off.
Like
so
that.
no, I'm just saying that could happen. Yeah. So we don't want to open it up to that. I like the policy as it is. Like I said, I like to leave a lot of discretion up to the mayor. That's chairman of the board. And if we want to extend the time limit, you know, to 12 minutes, I'm okay with that. And what Ronald Reagan said, no speech should be past 20 minutes. So if you want to stretch it all the way to 20, that's okay. But it's just, it's difficult. I understand we usually don't have presentations, but when a commissioner sees it fit for a presentation to be done, then we all have respect for that person that's coming in, you know, taking time out of their evening to come into the commission, and we should give them their time and their respect. But we should let them know ahead of time, hey, keep it under 12 minutes if you can. If you go over a little, it's okay, and we want to have a little Q&A after. That's pretty much, if you bring a presenter in and you're the commissioner, you have to talk to them and let them know. Yeah, and say, look, the mayor might cut you off at 12 minutes, and we might have Q&A, but you could do that. You could say, all right, please wrap up your presentation. Right. We have some questions to ask you. So I have faith in our chair, and I would like to leave it up more to their discretion. Yeah.
Well, I like having a roundabout time, though. I do not believe in the open-ended and then having the discretion. I just want it to be feasible for everyone, and I don't think we're not bringing up the kickball director to give presentations. We're bringing big dogs from Broward County and all over to do these presentations. So, like you said, when people take their time to do that, I don't want to then put the hammer down on them. So, I like that suggestion. If we keep it around a given time and give a little discretion and leeway for question and answer. All right. Vice Mayor, hold on. Thank you for that suggestion, Commissioner Ryan. It's time. I'm ready. We're almost there.
I quit.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I think you should come to a conclusion And even though the former mayor says that should be at your discretion, when you break the rule, it could be at a discretion. It could offend other people. I think you have a time limit. You should set a time limit, give them a minute's notice to tell them to finish up their thing and let them know that and if they don't have the respect that he's talking about, we should have the respect for them. They don't have the respect for you when they take an offer the presentation and you tell them it's going to be 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever it is, and they don't respect that, it works the other way against our respect. And I think it should be, communicated to both people. So my final offer to you is I think you should have no more than 30 minutes, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3. Give them 2 15-minute ones, 3 10-minute ones, and I don't mean per person. I mean overall the whole night.
All presentation.
So that's
So that
I
just
won't
takes a
agree with
little more
anything but that.
planning
or
on
something
our
close to that.
end maybe, and we can figure that out. So 30 minutes, I like that, Vice Mayor, go ahead. But that's good, I think, because if, I don't ever really want to tell Marty that he can't do his full presentation, and I don't want him to say, Marty, you only have 12 minutes now. So
Marty can talk
just,
for 45 minutes.
I think it's disrespectful to him coming and the amount of knowledge that he brings and the great news that he brings about Dania Beach. So 30 minutes in full. So if Commissioner Llewellyn invites Marty next year, then we know that that's the only presentation that we're going to have on the agenda from the commission at that time.
And you know what, if I may,
Please.
just a great job of collaboration and communication between all of you as a team. Eve and I were just discussing that. And if we have to move one of ours, like you
Put
saw
your
the landscape,
microphone on.
if we need to move one of ours, but I think like Commissioner Ryan said, like all of you said, you guys all had really good suggestions. Marty, Dr. Jurado, those individuals, we can adjust accordingly and really make it happen.
Okay. All right, so we can amend the resolution, Eve, to 30 minutes total for the commission, and we will work as a team to make sure that we stay within that time frame.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you better ask us.
Do we?
With discretion. 3 or 30 minutes, no more than 30 minutes in discretion.
Okay, no more than 30 minutes and with discretion of the mayor.
Could this just be commissioner
Yes.
presentations? This isn't.
No, it's just commission. It's just commission. It doesn't apply to this. Well, they have their own. They don't have any limits or any number of presentations. So this is.
We will also be very aware of the time. You know who does a really good job? Lori Bear.
Oh,
if you've
yeah.
ever made a presentation,
she keeps
Lori, I mean, and she keeps the meeting moving, and we've been doing such a great job, with the leadership of all of you that have served as mayor.
Yeah.
So this is a good compromise.
So just so we're clear for the presentations, it will be, the commission as a whole will be limited to 3 or 30 minutes.
That's right.
That's correct. We're
At the discretion of the mayor.
Discretion of the mayor.
It could be 32, 31, 33.
Yeah, you can get 4 in there in 30 minutes, as long as it's 30 minutes.
It's a discretion.
At the discretion of the mayor, we added that. All right, thank you, commission, that was a healthy discussion, I like that collaboration.
motion that we pass
And,
30 minutes.
motion, go ahead, motion from Vice Mayor.
It's it's total with the discretion of the mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, do I have a second? Commissioner Llewellyn?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Llewellyn, all in favor say aye. Aye, all right, item 13.5 passes unanimously. All right, great job, we're almost there. All right. Appointment item 14, are we in there?
6, last item.
Where is it? I'm missing it. Okay. Oh, item 13.6, access to the construction site of the gymnasium at C.W. Thomas Park for Tamara James. It is not sponsored by anyone, so I'm not necessarily sure how we're kicking this off.
If you want to just do a quick introduction, former Mayor Tamara James contacted the administration to get access to the gymnasium that's being named after her as it's being built. I did prepare a form construction site access waiver, and I included it in the agendas. It's the next page, so that, whoever goes on if she goes onto the site, it's available. She would have to sign this waiver. I also contacted the contractor with the help of the Parks Department, so that were anybody to go on site, we know what can be worn, for example, the type of shoes to wear, etc. The city administration has not authorized any persons to visit an active construction site, so it is your decision to entertain the request.
Okay, I did have some concerns about this, and so I will kick that off since this is an active construction site, and as this commission has prioritized safety as a top, if not number one priority, City Manager, this is an unprecedented request. This is the first request that we've had from a resident, a former elected official, current elected official to go onto an active construction site.
That is correct, at least during my tenure here. We have the groundbreaking, we have the ribbon cuttings, we photograph and videotape everything. So this was unprecedented, so that's why.
And the rationale behind that was what?
Documentation for former Mayor James's family, for her to have.
No, the rationale behind not having a citizen go onto an active construction site prior to this.
Yeah, because safety is our number one priority, not just of the city commission, but of the administration. So this was an unprecedented request. So, we communicated with former Mayor James in regards to that. We document everything with photos and with videos. And I know we do the Mayor on the Move, and I know that you were so gracious to move the Mayor on the Move earlier to be able to grant former Mayor James and all of you access, and we would, prepare to be able to bring, not just Mayor James, but all of you into the construction site. But, Mayor James, former Mayor James wanted to do it now. So it was.
But this does fall under the purview as far as an administrative duty and not a commission decision as the operations of the city. Like, that's what I want to know, because what I have concerns about is having the operations and the policymakers and then the operations commingle. So if this is an operations of the city manager and the city manager managing the city and what's safe for the city, then, if you don't like the answer that you get, then we now go and make it into the commissions now telling, or to me, it's undermining what the city manager's job is. And then now it becomes a political aspect instead of just being a management decision. So that is one of my first concerns, is that in addition to it being a safety priority, furthermore, I feel like it is selective enforcement of the policy. So if we say that I never make a decision based on one individual. It's always for all of the individuals. So if it is safe for one resident, then it should be safe for all residents. I did just do the Mayor on the Move with Sean Shutton, and I could not go onto the active construction site because I was not in OSHA compliance. And so I had to stay a certain distance away from it because OSHA requires certain equipment to be worn that I did not have on. And I had my hard hat, I had my jacket. So I want to make sure that whatever decision is made here, that we are in federal compliance with all of OSHA's rules and regulations before we start letting citizens go on to active construction sites. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand your concerns, and just my feeling on a couple things on this. In normal aspects, a resident would not ask to go on a construction site. I don't think that'll ever happen, that somebody just wants to walk on there. And I mean, obviously, they would just be turned away instantly. As far as the special exception goes, I think we look back at, what former Mayor James has given to the city, her time and service that's there. The gymnasium is being named after her. I'm sure that if we asked her to comply to OSHA's or whatever, if it meant that much to her, that she would comply to whatever the city's legal or safety issues would be. And it's not like just anybody coming up there. It's something that she wants to momentally, take a progress of what's going to be part of her legacy to show her family as she goes on. I'm sure with a portfolio of some type that her being a WBA, a basketball player, professional athlete, and so on, that it's just something that she's building. So, as I look at it, I understand all of our concerns. And as far as going on construction sites, we've been on construction sites. I remember going on Dania Beach Boulevard, sitting in the construction. I got a picture in my phone of all of us sitting there on a construction site under full construction, and we were all there. So I don't want to say that we weren't there on a construction site. So with that being said, I'm in support of her going and taking her pictures under the supervision of the city manager and what the city and the city attorney require, as long as they're reasonable and honest requests. And if she does not like to do that, then she can't go on that site. But at that point, I would recommend that we allow her under supervision to go there and take the pictures, because of her being a former commission and their time given and it being named after her. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Llewellyn.
Thank you, Mayor. I know which site you're talking about that we were all on. That was not a city site. That was a private developer, and it was a whole different, that was a topping off, and it was a different situation. My thoughts on this was, as soon as I heard about it, the first thing that came to mind was, well, why is it coming to us? Because this isn't a policy decision. This is a city management operations decision. And if this was not a scenario where this was a former elected who didn't just call other commissioners and ask for them to overrule the city manager, we would not be here, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this is not a policy decision. This is not a city commission decision. This is a city management decision. This is an operations decision. And if our city management and our city team does not feel that this is an appropriate thing to do, then I would defer to them and follow their lead. We are not supposed to be directing operational situations, and this is bordering right on that, and it puts us in a bad position as well. And I personally don't want to get a call from an ethics hotline or anybody telling me that we shouldn't have been doing this. So bottom line here for me is that this is an operational decision, and if I were to be asked, if I'm going to have to vote, I'm going to go in favor of what the operations part of the city has said, which is that it's not safe and it's not appropriate to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Romoli.
Thank you, Mayor. So, in the past, we've had discussions about items that our volunteer committees have voted yes on, and this commission votes no on. There were some discussions about, if they're voting yes, why are we saying no? We should respect their decisions. And I think that's very true. And I don't think it's true in every case, but in the case of this situation, I concur with the mayor and Commissioner Llewellyn. This is not a commission decision. I've thought about this over and over and over again, and it's like, yeah, I would love to say yes, go ahead and do it, but it goes against really my principles of what your role is here, city manager. Your role is to manage the city. We set policy here. And I just don't think that's a situation where we should get into right now. I think it's just a real gray area, and I think it opens it up for a lot of bad things. So I just don't think that we should be, it should even be to us to even vote on it at this point.
Thank you, Commissioner Romoli. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is definitely a unique situation, but I think we could probably come to solution here. First of all, I've been by CW. I was there, I don't know, last week. It's going to be done in what, November, right? Bert, you just said we were ahead of schedule, correct, man?
Yeah, we are looking at either December or January ribbon
So
cutting.
right now, I know the windows and doors are on and the roof's on, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what are they doing now? They're putting in the floors and they're putting in bleachers and equipment and everything, right? So nothing's really gonna fall from the sky on your head or anything. I'm just saying, look, I'm not a construction management expert either. But it seems like the project is reaching its final phase. I think we could all be clear on that one, just by driving by it and seeing it.
We still have to demolish an existing structure.
Yeah, I'm talking about the gym though. The gym, right now, the gym has windows and doors in it and it has a roof on it, correct? And
Yeah,
it has 4 walls.
we're still working on it. But when you're done, I'm going to talk
Okay.
about, what you guys want me to discuss.
Yeah, so it's a unique situation. Yeah, of course, residents don't want to go on construction sites, but this is a very unique situation. This is a former 2-time mayor of Dania. The gym's being named after her, in unanimous decision by the commission. So I understand that she wants to document it. With speaking to her, she said that she has no problem with the hold harmless agreement and the waiver, and no problem by just taking pictures and not posting them. Let the city post first. I can understand that. So whatever agreement that the city needs to make with former Mayor James, I think she's willing to make that plea. And I really don't have an issue with it. I don't think we need to make it a big issue as long as we follow all standards and we do a hold harmless agreement. And, then we don't have any liability on our end as a city. I understand. God forbid if something terrible happens in the active construction site. That's how I feel. I don't want anybody to have any sort of feelings towards this. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the whole entire commission, for our current mayor and our former Mayor James, to come together as a community and celebrate this great gym that we're creating, this $23 million C.W. Thomas Park. It's going to be great when we get to, like you said, December and January. But until that time, I understand why it wants to be documented. And, that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't see a big issue with it at all at the construction site. And as long as the city manager does it and the city attorney by their standards, like you said, this is a unique situation, then I'm okay with it. And we have Mayor James in the audience. Is it okay if she speaks on this item, just for?
We're going to have the city manager to speak, and again, I follow the rules, and this is not an agenda item, so we're not having public comment right now.
It's on the
City
agenda.
manager.
So yes, thank you so much, everyone. So let me be clear. I never said no to former Mayor James. So I just want to put that on the record.
I didn't say you said
I did not say no. My goal here and what I've accomplished for the last 16 years as a city manager in 3 cities, including here, is to get to yes, but to get to yes doing things right.
Right.
And sometimes yes cannot happen today, but maybe it can happen next month. So when I had this discussion with former Mayor James in regards to, I've spoken to current Mayor Davis, and she's going to be moving her Mayor on the Move, because the Mayor on the Move is a great initiative that we put in place that kind of creates that excitement. So when I went to Mayor Davis, she says, absolutely, manager, let's work together. I'll make the Mayor on the Move sooner rather than later. We'll start talking about it as soon as we come back from vacation. She just finished a great one at the Southeast Drainage, which she wasn't on the actual construction, because it requires steel-toed shoes. There's a list that he has here.
Yeah.
So basically, when I discussed this with Mayor James, she didn't want to wait until next month, or the first week of September when we were able to coordinate it. So she said, I'm going to reach out to the elected officials. So that's exactly how everything occurred. So then my suggestion was, yes, Mayor James, we can make it happen. We can make it happen around this time. But Mayor James wanted to go sooner rather than later. And she reached out to you all, and that's why we're here today.
Well, I will also say that it would have been a good idea to be able to collaborate and just say, hey, this is the city, you have your gym here, and you have something that's named after you, and let's figure it out just like we worked together to figure out the last item. We can collaborate and we can work things out. But when you, to me, go on social media, and I don't look at social media, don't care about social media, other people's social media, but I am contacted by our HR, and it says that sounds like a threat to you, the mayor. And so if I feel that I am going to be threatened, it sounds like a threat, then I have to pay attention when I don't want to pay attention. Then I can't collaborate when I would have collaborated. Then I can't be as magnanimous as I would have wanted to be, because now I'm having a director or a staff person to say that this sounds like a threat to you as the mayor. And to me, it's just unprofessional behavior. It is not something that I think a leader should do as an example. I don't think that it is anything that we should reward as somebody who has, requested something unprecedented and then turns around and I'm contacted and says that this sounds like a threat. So where I was able to collaborate before, the negativity, the negative energy, and all the things that come with that are just not acceptable to me. I teach against girl bullying. I teach against aggression. I teach against people posting. Stop and think before you text, post, or speak. That is what Pearl Girls do. That is what I've been teaching for the last 11 years. So I don't think there's nobody up here that I know that goes and spews negativity on their social media, and to a point where a staff member has had to say, I think that that's a threat to you. And so that behavior then does not get rewarded for me, and it's something that beyond that, it just isn't a decision that should be made by the commission. It is an operations decision. It is not a commission decision, and I no longer feel comfortable with the collaboration component. I just want the OSHA regulations to be followed, and I want us to move forward, and I want to get to a decision so that we can move on.
Mayor, I'm still on the mic. I respected your time for sure. I've just the city brought this to us to make a decision. All right. I know we want to shoot it back and pass the buck back to them, and I know this is it's become kind of a personal situation. But listen, this is just about allowing someone access to C.W. Thomas Park, to the gym specifically, okay? And it has to be allowed by management. So if management has a date set and our city attorney, our legal, has waivers set, okay, and standards that they have to meet, then I think we should make a vote on it now to allow her or not. I'd like to make a motion to allow Tamara James access within the discretion of city management and city attorney for their requirements and OSHA requirements. And I make a motion to allow her access at a time of city management meeting. And look, you brought this to us to vote on it, so let's just take a vote on it and see where it goes.
All right, let's move on and take a vote. Is there a second? We have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. It was Commissioner, Vice Mayor, hold on. Why aren't you doing that? There you go.
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Elora, please call it to a vote.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
No.
Commissioner Romoli?
So, Mayor, I was going to ask a question before we actually went to a vote, and the question was to the city manager, what was the date that you had set to be agreeable to former Mayor James to go on site?
After my conversation with the mayor and the marketing team, we were looking around the second week of September, and we would complete the mayor on the move, and then not just former Mayor James, but all of you can come to the site.
Okay, so with that said, if you can make an amendment to the motion that I would agree to that date and time frame of your choosing to allow her to be on site to take pictures and do whatever it is that she needs to do, based on your recommendation and the date that you set.
We're not going to have the decorum. Eve, can you please read the decorum? Chief, we will not have shouting out from the audience. Will not have it.
No individual shall make slanderous or uniquely repetitive remarks or engage in any other form of behavior that disrupts or impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting as determined by the mayor. No individual may speak directly to or address the mayor, city commissioner, or city staff. Comments are only to be directed to the city commission as a whole. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support of or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted.
Thank you, Eve. If we can move on, we have a motion. Oh, hold on, Commissioner Llewellyn. We had a motion. We did not have a.
Wait, I just want to clarify something. Do we have to address the first motion and second that were initially brought up?
So you have the first motion yes, you have a motion and a second. I believe what people call a friendly amendment is being requested, which can be, you would make a motion for that and see if there's a second for that amendment. But you'd have to vote on both items eventually if the second item passed.
Okay, then I would second the friendly amendment.
Okay. So first vote on the friendly amendment, then
Let's remind everyone where we are, Eve, because it's, yeah.
So there are two items on the floor. So the first one is to pass the item to allow Commissioner James to go on site, as I understand it, with the waiver and the requirements of OSHA. The friendly amendment request is to do it at the time directed by the city manager. So you would vote first on the time for the city manager, then you would vote on the main motion, which is the motion to approve the going on site. It's a two-part thing.
It's complicated. All right, so we had a motion and a second for the first one, which is what, Eve? Just repeat the first one that we're voting on.
The first one you're voting on is the amendment to the first motion. And it's the amendment to the first motion is just at the timing set by the manager.
Okay, so Commissioner Ramoli made that motion. We did not get a second for that motion.
Lori Llewellyn seconded.
Okay, Lori. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Let's call that one to a vote. Elora. Me too, girl. Let's see.
Commissioner Llewellyn? To the friendly amendment.
Yes.
Commissioner Ramoli?
Yes.
It's not, hold on.
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Does it matter? Yes, I guess.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries for the friendly amendment.
Thank
Now I'm going to call the motion for the original vote. Commissioner Llewellyn?
What are we voting on?
Was the original
main
vote
motion.
with this friendly amendment now?
The main motion that includes the friendly amendment now.
Meaning that, I thought that's what we just voted on.
No.
Because it's two separate motions, you have to address the amendment to the main motion and then the main motion. So we're voting on basically as amended.
No. Well, I just wanted to make sure because I thought we were voting now on Commissioner Ryan's
It is, yes.
motion to approve it
Yes.
as it is.
It is, so because you amended it by the first motion, it's now the whole thing. Yes.
Okay.
They voted on they have one more motion to make. That means they have one more vote to make. It's on the whole thing as a whole.
So let me just be clear. We voted in favor to do the amendment.
Yes.
And now this is to vote on that motion with the amendment.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing.
It is, it's just technically supposed to do 2 votes.
Okay, then yes.
Commissioner Romali?
Yes, based on the date set by the city manager and team.
Correct.
Correct, yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
I think I should have just left it as, let them do a friendly amendment.
Let's just do that. We could have done the friendly amendment because I just don't like the original motion because the original motion just to me says that this is approval and I do not agree with that. So I don't agree with the original motion. So my vote is no. Even
Passes 4-1.
all right, then let us move on to commission comments and let's get ready to go on our vacay. All right, commissioner comments. Commissioner Llewellyn.
I'm actually not going to have any comments tonight because I think we all need vacation. And so with that, have a good 6 weeks without us.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Romali.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to wish everybody a wonderful summer. Yeah, we'll see you in August. See you in 3 weeks.
Is it only 3 weeks? Commissioner Ryan. Oh, hold on.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go over one thing. We had on the consent agenda, we had item 8.9, and item 8.9 was the agreement, the whole commission signed it right before the meeting, and it was for the financing for the purchase for the MC Frost House. And I think we're going to close on that, what, tomorrow, Eve? Or we're closing this week, right? So,
Thursday.
Wow. We are finally, we're buying a huge piece of history in the city of Dania Beach. It's a great accomplishment by everyone on all fronts, and I really thank the commission's support on it. We still got a couple more out there we could get, guys, and it's just I can't wait to see. I was in the property last week. It's not in the worst shape ever. It's decent, and it's going to be a great venue for the city. Be great future uses that we have there. When you go in the backyard, you'll see there's plenty of parking for a nice event there. You know, I know Marco's been there back in the day, and everybody remembers it as the Water Gardens when it was publicly open. But I'm ecstatic about it. I'm very happy, and AC Frost House is next. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan and Vice Mayor Salvino.
I'm going to go on vacation. I need it. I just want to leave this with everybody to lead with love.
Oh, thank you. And you're on the cover of that, too.
I know.
All right. This is the moment I have been waiting for. And I am not going to go into all the wonderful things that I've done, that we've done. But I want to say congratulations to the Rita Crockett Beach Sports Academy for their groundbreaking. It's going to be new and exciting to have this health and wellness athletic opportunity right here in the city of Dania Beach. I did get to meet with, I look forward for all of us to meet with Collins Elementary Principal Eames. He was a bright burst of sunshine. I loved Dr. Jackson, but this guy, he brings a lot of energy to the table, and he's hungry, and he wants to do a lot of great things at Collins Elementary, so I'm very excited about that. And then we celebrated another milestone with our 4th of July 5K walking club. We had our first 4th of July walk, and we have 50 members registered, so we're very excited about moving the health initiatives forward. And I will say that I'm just happy how we have been able to collaborate as a team and to move over, to be a professional collaborative team. And I thank you all for your leadership and not rushing me in my comments, because
Sorry, I'm just pushing.
I am so excited that I get to work with all of you. Truly a wonderful team from all of you, community development, who stayed here to the last minute, and all of our team. We have done great things this year, and I look forward to doing great things with our budget when we return 5.9998. We have kept our millage rate the same. So with that, I want everyone, while I am on the boat in Capri in Italy, to have a wonderful, awesome, and one more thing, happy belated birthday to Commissioner Romoli. And yes, it is July season, and so have a great, happy
birthday to you, man.
And have a wonderful evening, everybody. Have a safe and happy summer, and our meeting is adjourned.